We're live. Okay. Flip this around. Some business plugged in. Got a slow start this morning. Last day, so we're... Oh! that's the last day you get to watch a live video of the recording of the live from yesterday. This is plugging it in there. Okay.
Yoga has. There's another brand that's not in this continent that has a neoprene mat that's definitely subpar to this.
Okay.
It's impossible to get.
It's on. Can we?
I got my commercial.
Experience with the neoprene mat. This is an upgrade from that, and it's by far.
Zoom in and let them watch commercials.
For a few reasons. Mostly it lays flat. It has the embedded soft cotton top, so it soaks up the
How's that look? That's pretty good.
Today was they had the zebra flooring, so it's really soft floor. Which I
just need to get Wilson to tilt it a little to the right because that makes the floor.
Okay.
Alright, here we go.
Kill this. Let's get our fancy background up there. I'm going to jump on here today at some point as well. Okay.
Hold on, your mic's on? Your mic?
I don't have my mic on.
Get your mic on. Get your mic on.
Get your mic on.
I'm going to change this battery as well.
Battery change.
Okay, good. So that was in there.
On. A.
Hold on. Hold up. Wait a minute.
We're going.
What time is the Friday meeting?
Hold on.
Noon. Usually, right? Noon?
Friday meeting?
Friday is noon with Wilson?
Yes, around that time. Yeah, we'll say noon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Alright.
See, this is the relaxed versus professional. We're professional enough to schedule a meeting on Friday and to give it a time. Practically, will everyone be here at noon ready to go? Probably not. But it will happen sometime at noon-ish. It's a soft noon. It's okay, that's how we roll. Okay.
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Two
Stop
more
it for 1 second.
Right,
Menu,
entertain our live
format.
for a second. So, live
Okay.
peoples, thank you for tuning in this whole time. I'm really excited we were able to make this work, and I think it's turned out really good. I will be sending you guys or attaching you guys to something that will have the private link. It will have the email that we have for you on file. Holy cow, Lux. As the registered email for you to be able to access the link of these videos so that you can re-watch them. The other detail will be I will go through the videos and we will timestamp the videos in the description on the YouTube video when certain conversations start. So you'll be able to move through them quickly to go back and check certain things instead of just scrolling back and forth. But we will not be doing a complete cut and edit of the videos because it's just not worth it. There's too much good information. We don't want to cut anything out that you might want to actually see again. So, because we've been getting feedback about what could we cut to condense it so it's more useful for you, and there is nothing really to cut. So, stay tuned for how exactly that's going to be happening. It'll probably be going through a private Facebook group that you will get to be part of, and the videos will be dropped in there, and there will be a private video, which means if your email is not connected to it, you wouldn't be able to watch it. So, but I'll send you guys some information on that. Furthermore, I'll just remind you that if you need to re-up on mats, or if you've never done an order from We Are Yoga, you've got to get some of this gear in your studio, not just because I'm working together with Will and I want to plug it right now, but because my experience has been you will definitely have a new revenue stream if you launch this appropriately. So you don't have to have a ton of gear. If you even just order 10 yoga mats, they equate to doubling your money on each one of those sales. And usually what we see, my experience has been, if you bring in 10 yoga mats and they've got the fancy colors and everything else going on them, you will move all 10 of them in the first month, if not way shorter. We would order the Way mats by, you were saying by a pallet. How many is in it? 100? We'd order 100 at a time and we'd re-up every month to 6 weeks. So they're not something that's difficult to sell. That's the primary product. There's also the shirts, everything else kind of cool like that. Don't break the bank trying to bring in product. There's other ways to make sure that you're balancing your cash flow first. to make sure that you're using your cash flow. But what I'm saying is, if you're trying to create some cash flow, and we're moving into a new season right now, everyone's going back to school, things are going to start picking up again in the business, you want to have some of that retail there. And the other point that I'll make is, when we talked about marketing, we said you should be working months in advance. So right now, start planning your product for December, because at Christmas time, it's really easy to move product, and I'm going to give you one of the examples of how. I mentioned the marketing strategy of making baskets for your clients so they have a physical product that they can give to someone as a gift or buy for themselves. Practically, how you sell this, how you launch it, is not to actually make a physical basket, because people don't actually want that. They want to make their own. And for you to put it all together is too complicated and time consuming. So this is what you do instead. I call it the buy 3, buy 5. So you make sure that you have a little extra retail. You launch this, and this is when it has to launch. This is why you got to start planning now and start budgeting for it. In November, you launch that this will start on December 1st. So by November 15th, you start putting little teasers out there that there's going to be a special product thing going on. And by the end of November, you even launch it. Maybe it doesn't take effect till December 1st, but it could go even earlier than that. The reason why we have to wait to the end of November is the Black Friday event. It messes things up a little bit. So right after that, though, you might launch this, and because people usually are done their Christmas shopping in November now. But the buy 3, buy 5. So you just say, buy any 3 items, any 3 retail items in my shop, and I'll give you 15% off of all 3 of the items. Buy any 5 items in the retail shop, and I will give you 20 or 25% off all 5 of the items. The reason this works is, as soon as someone's looking at any one item, the upsell to get them to just add 2 more things in there to get the discount is a piece of cake, especially if you have a couple of smaller priced items. So if you have the Neo mat, you've got a Way mat, you've got a water bottle, you've got a pair of shorts, and then you have a special detergent, it's easy to get these things put together in a package for somebody, and you find that it makes every ticket that is go up. So it's a good marketing strategy. But I'm bringing it up now because Will hook you guys up. He's got some special deals, so when you need to re-up right now, make sure you're contacting him and he'll help you out. Makes it more accessible for you, and you need to start planning now for the months to come. So even beyond right this moment, it's a good idea to start doing this. Furthermore, it's the last day, so I've got to plug my programs as well. Own Mentoring, I've got 2 spots left, that's official. Someone was asking about the price. I haven't told you about the price. The special price that you guys get, it's $250 per month. $250 a month, 90-minute phone call, back-end work on my side. I proof everything you do, give you my feedback on it, and you get my full 40 video course, and the copies of this, and access to the private Facebook group, and all of my other partners that I work with as well. So a lot of value there. There is no commitment time frame, there is no minimum payment, there's no minimum anything. We sign up, $250, we schedule a once-a-month phone call, you get all the access to everything right out of the gate. We start working on it. If you say, hey, I'm not really getting the value from this anymore, or I don't like it, or whatever, phone me up, or just send me an email, we cancel it, it's over, piece of cake. So we make it as flexible as we can. With the Own Mentoring, the guarantee that I have is that after 3 or 4 months of being on the Own Mentoring, you will feel more in control of your business, you will be more excited about going into your business, and we will straighten things out so that it is optimized to the best of our ability. You will easily have more people participating in your business to warrant way beyond that $250. So there's no real risk for you involved. So if you're interested in that, make sure you contact me. Specifically for you Florida studios or people on the East Coast, Janet and I will be traveling around and our teaching. Our schedule is getting really full already. We're usually booking ourselves months in advance. We've got some spots left, but we can go to your studio potentially and do some on-site work with you for even up to a week of time. We've got a couple of blocks of time that are about that big. So if you want us to come and help out with teaching, with mentoring, with business coaching, with training your staff, with any of these things, we'd love to participate. Again, contact us soon so we can get that all sorted out before we run out of space. Okay, what are we talking about today? Woo! Today's a big one. Online presence is number one. Then we're going to talk about, this is a special little unit that I'm adding in for you guys, exit strategy. How do you exit your business? Do you exit your business? We'll also talk about what your strategy should be now, moving forward, and we're going to work on the no BS business plan. So we're going to actually make a new business plan for you to move forward from this moment on. And we'll end up finalizing things with a little bit of inspiration to get you amped up on moving forward. And then we'll call it a day for now. Then we'll go to a more personal level. So, online presence. You'll notice that this is a separate section than our marketing day. We touched on marketing, and that is, on the importance of an online presence, that you have to be online, these sorts of things, but we left it to be its own subject because the truth is we could spend all day today and tomorrow and the next day just talking about how you should run your Facebook page if we wanted to really get all the way into it. So it needed to be its own spot, and we want to spend a little bit more time on it. Basically, the starting point is that you must be online. I made the joke the other day, if you don't have a web page right now, you must think that we can smoke on airplanes still. You have to have a web page. Now, of course, everyone has a web page, but what we do with our web page, that's changed from the past, and we need to define that. The other places, I'm going to just knock them out right out of the gate, where, in my opinion, as a business, you must be web page. You have to have an email marketing system. That's another online presence. You must have a Facebook page. And I think that there's a lot of reasons why a business Facebook page is a good idea, unless you're going to really be the only person running the studio, then you could use your personal page. What do we have there? Something just jumped up.
No, you're good.
We're good? Okay. Did we check with Wilson that this made it on too? We should do that.
Okay.
I'll check it.
Yes. The other place that, of course, the vast majority of people are participating right now is on Instagram. So basically I'm saying you should be on Instagram as well. And then the last one, and this one's really underestimated, I think that you should be on YouTube. I think that every yoga studio should be on YouTube right now. And I'll explain why when we get to that. Now, any of the other social media things, you guys might be wondering about LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, these other things. Yes, they're a good idea. But you need to do them properly. So if doing 10 social media platforms is biting off more than you can chew, if right now you're barely able to manage your Facebook page at all, then it's not a good idea to just be on all of them. And one of the things we'll talk about is that posting the exact same content, exactly the same, verbatim, word for word, same picture, same everything across all of the platforms is not a very good idea. It's not the best way to utilize that. So you can't make up for it by just saying, I'm going to post this photo on Facebook and then just spread it across everything. It won't work that way. LinkedIn is another platform that is a good one to be on, but it's for networking as the owner. So LinkedIn, it's better for you to have your own personal LinkedIn account and then have a LinkedIn business profile page associated with that. So that is a good one to be on, but again, don't bite off more than you can chew. In terms of getting customers in, that might not be the #1 priority for you, especially if you're a small local business. You want to be careful not to have a LinkedIn profile but then have nothing going on there and not fill it out properly or not make it look like you're very professional. That could actually be a detriment to you. So let's go down the rabbit hole. Holy cow, you must actually have presence. Point #1. Any platform that you decide to be on online, you have to have a real presence on that platform. You can't just have it there and have your name and throw some picture up and then once a month post something. That's not the way it works anymore. When we talk about marketing conceptually, there's the concept that a lot of people know about guerrilla marketing. And the basic principle of guerrilla marketing is being everywhere. If I'm walking down the street, I see a sign, then I go into a coffee shop and there's a poster, then I get in my car and on the radio your ad shows up, and then I'm talking to a friend at a cocktail party and they say, I went and took a yoga class with you. 7 times is the magic number we hear. 7 points of contact, 7 times seeing your studio before someone starts to really hear your message and start to really be interested in checking out what's going on. So that still holds to be true, but where it's happening has now changed. Whether we like it or not, the vast majority of our culture is participating on their phone hours and hours and hours a day. So you need to get in front of them on that platform. Notice that I'm saying phone. It's not just online, it's specifically on the phone. That's where most people are participating right now. So anything you do, it's got to be online as well. You want to show up everywhere online, but you want to show up on the phone. 80% of people who find you are going to find you online. 80%. In terms of the whole industry stats, that's what we're seeing. So if you're not online in the right way, you become invisible to the vast majority of your potential clients. If you're that invisible, you might as well close your doors because you won't be able to compete. That's the truth of it. I have this debate often with my dad. He has a Facebook page, but just because I think I set it up for him. With his business, he doesn't post anything. With his wife's business, she's this incredibly talented, way over the top educated, decades of experience myofascial release practitioner and massage therapist. The people who she has that come to her are willing to pay extreme top dollar, and they are repeat clients for years of time because she completely changes their lives, but she has struggled getting new clients. I just asked a couple questions one day. Do you have a Facebook page? Have you ever heard of LinkedIn? Nothing. I'm like, well, you have a website, right? No. So we were talking about how do you get new people to come to you and the concept of getting your current clients to go bring them in. But we made the point that she's literally invisible, and she lives in a large market in England as well. So there's no reason why she wouldn't be able to find new clients. She should be, because of the quality and her talent, she should be overbooked. But she's underbooked right now, so that's very strange. But she's essentially invisible to anyone who'd be looking for her. You can't find her. Now, she told me she's in the Yellow Pages. This will come up in marketing. Yellow Pages has tried to move online. It failed. Don't ever pay Yellow Pages a dime for anything. There's no value in them whatsoever because people don't look there. So in terms of online, the big concept I'm getting to is you need to be in front of the people when they're looking for you. Where are they looking for you? On their phone. Here's the other concept that's really funny. Friends of mine own a hotel. Actually own a couple of hotels. And they said the most common way people book is on their phone, and they can tell through their analytics that it's on the phone and not just online. And I said, that's really interesting. What about people who are currently in the hotel? So we looked it up. And 90% of the time, if someone was already in the hotel and they wanted to stay for one extra day and they were going to rebook a room, instead of phoning the concierge or coming down and telling the front desk, they would just go on their phone and book the next night. Probably not even through their website. They would go on to Hotwire or another Expedia, Kayak, whatever else, and find the hotel and book it that way. Even though they might have been, they could be on the first floor and 10 feet away, they could just walk down and be like, I want to stay another night, and it would be done. But instead they would go online and book it through their phone. So it also talks to how people want to interact with the business right now. They are avoiding to some extent that face-to-face, person-to-person contact until they feel extremely comfortable with that business, which ties into the marketing concept that if someone walks in your door and wants to talk to you, that is massive. It means more than it has ever meant right now, so you have to be ready to leverage that. But it also means that until they're ready to do that, we need to help them along so that they are comfortable to come into the doors. And how do we do it? It's through the online presence. Now, some general points in terms of your website and in terms of your email campaigns as well. Almost had a mind blank there. Because everything is on the phone, email opens, we looked at it even in 2006, I think, the percentage of email opens that were on a tablet or a phone versus a laptop or a computer was still more to the laptop than the computer. 60% or something was the average. It started to even out. We look at 2009, already it switched the other way around, 60% open on the phones. And then now, if you look at the analytics for MailChimp, Aweber, My Emma, or whatever it's called, Constant Contact, on the whole, they're reporting that in a lot of markets, the open rate on a phone versus a laptop is in the 90 percentile now. Which just goes to show, they're also finding your website, if you're backlinking to it anywhere, on their phone. If your website is not responsive, people are very fickle about what they like. If they end up at your website and they can't read, or they have to try to do the 2-finger pinch in or out, and especially you've got to think, this isn't talking about the young generation who are super tech savvy crowd. That's not who I'm speaking about. I'm talking about your actual prime clientele, the 50-year-old male. They have an iPhone. My father-in-law, 60-something-year-old worker, they used to carry a radio around because he manages 100 employees, and they would radio each other around town. They have a bunch of radios sitting in the back of the shop now. They don't use the radio at all because everyone has a smartphone. Everyone, including him. So same thing, even that potential client, 65-year-old person, wants to come and do a yoga class, they're going to find you on the phone. So this just means, what am I leading to? Responsiveness. Your site must be responsive. If you have an old website and it is not responsive right now, it's an emergency state. Because again, nobody is going to go through the effort to try to figure out how to read your stuff. How do you know if your site is responsive? Bring it up on your phone right now. Or on your computer, start to shrink it down and make sure everything changes so that it's easy to read. It also means that you need to start educating on yourself on what those widths are and how to make sure that everything is responsive. And to make sure that everything is responsive in a way that's actually valuable. So even the size of the photo that you put onto your website needs to be of a certain parameters so that the responsive nature of the website, if you have one, can adapt the photo properly. Otherwise, everything gets all messed up. So do a little analytics test on your own site and make sure it's responsive. Same thing with your emailing. Your emails should be responsive. If you're not sure if they're responsive or not, you can look up online what the proper pixel size is for an email, and you can change the width of what your emails are sent out at. 680 pixels. Less is probably a good idea too. It also means, those details are less relevant, most email platforms are going to be responsive now, but it also means that the way that you write an email has completely changed because of this online presence. So when you write an email, if you write a whole bunch of block letters all together, it's too much to look at in one go. It's the exact same thing with your website. Nobody will read it. Nobody. Not at first. So when you write something, it makes more sense for you to write in multiple paragraphs. You write 3 lines, maximum 3 lines, period, paragraph break, new paragraph. In fact, every time that you write a new point, make it a completely new paragraph. Even if it's about one larger concept that you're talking about, it has to be broken down this way so that when someone is looking on their phone, sitting at the bus, scrolling down, reading your email, it's one line that stands out, they read it. They scroll down one line, 2 lines, 1 line. That's how people read through it. Now, we're not even talking about the content yet of this at all, and that's not really the focus of what we're going to talk about. But one of the keys I'll tell you as well is anytime you're writing something in email, anytime you're writing something in terms of on your phone, if it appears this way, on your website for example, if it appears this way, that's step number 1. Step number 2 is everything you write should be a conversation. So it should be as if I'm talking to you right now in front of me. So when you're writing it out, pretend you're talking to somebody, and that's how you should write it. Because when I'm reading it, I need to get caught up in it as if it's a conversation so that I keep reading. If that doesn't happen, if it's just informational, they will not read it. So part of it's visual, part of it's the content itself that you're actually putting out there. Now, social media, as the example, falls under all of the same rules that we talked about in marketing as well. Gotta be responsive, but of course, all social media should be congruent in their look and their feel. So anytime that someone goes anywhere and finds Nomad Business Coaching, and I should check that I've done this, the website should have a look, and it should be a similar look in terms of color, what the message is, the call to action, even the photos themselves, to what my Facebook page is, which should be similar to my LinkedIn profile, which is also similar to my profile on Pinterest and my Twitter page. And the names and the name handle should be the same or extremely similar all the time. So what we often see is an incongruency. If I go to your website, it's got this big, cool, beautiful picture, and it's colorful, and there's a little video that plays and everything else, and then I go to your Facebook page, and the logo that's in the Facebook icon thing is different. It's a picture of someone else, and the picture on there is not congruent with the business. So what this leads to is that you don't make them exactly the same, but you have to have a version of them that's for the specific platform. For example, this fits the Facebook guideline rules to be allowed to be a banner on Facebook in terms of its size and the percentage of letters versus the picture behind it, so it will be approved and we know it goes up there. If you go to the poster, that's the landing page on the website that we used, it has the picture of me in between and it has more information underneath. But all of the colors are the same, the logo is the same, this wording looks the same. There's a congruency between these two things. Can we bring it up, the poster?
Yep. Let's see, yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Yep. Hold on. Alright, here we go.
It'll be there in a moment. But the point is, anytime you make any one thing for your business, a logo, a picture, a poster, or whatever, you're not making one. Whoever makes it for you, or if you make it, you're actually making like 5 versions of this. So you need to make sure that it can go on your Facebook page, that it fits the dimensions for your email, that it has something interesting to end up on your website. So we talked a little bit the other day in marketing about recycling content. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Whenever you create one thing, actually you're creating like 5 of the same thing. Yeah, so here was the poster that we put out. This poster, you can see with the black, it wouldn't fit for this screen style. And it doesn't fit if we were to use this, hi, come on in. This would not work if we use this on the banner on the Facebook page. So it would look unprofessional and budget if we were to, despite how good this poster might be, this would look silly on that platform. It doesn't work. So we had to make the other piece. Now, when we go to Instagram, Instagram is in a perfect square.
I'll pull that up right now.
So we had to make a square version as well because the Facebook one won't fit on Instagram. It would have to cut off the edges. There's the square version. Almost exactly the same thing, but it's a perfect square. When you put this into the platform of Instagram, then it fits. So again, it's what you're communicating. Remember, everything you say is a suggestion, everything you do is a suggestion. So if you want to suggest that your business is of a higher quality, then these sorts of things start to matter. That might not even be completely conscious. But I tell you right now, and you guys can all speak for yourselves, when you go and you find a business online, do you notice when their stuff looks really nice and it all fits the parameters that's on the platform that you're looking at it on? Do you notice that? Maybe a little bit. If it looks good and it's kind of sexy, you like it. It's kind of sexy, right? Here's the second part of the question though. If you go onto a platform, let's say Facebook or Instagram, and you find a similar post put up there,
Facebook.
And it doesn't look good. It looks out of whack. There's a weird black bar on the side, or it doesn't seem to fit. It looks out of place. Do you notice that? 100% yes, am I right? So, when you do something right, when you go through the effort to make it all fit how you want it to, it doesn't matter because people are going to notice that and come in and tell you, oh, you did such a good job making sure this fit on your Instagram and on your Facebook and on your LinkedIn and on your website. It matters because if you don't do it, they'll notice how you look unprofessional. 80% of your clients are going to find you online. Probably higher now. 80% of them are going to find you online, not on your website. Here's the other cog. People aren't going to find you on your website right away. It's less likely now. They're going to find you on Google or another search engine like YouTube if you exist there. From there, they're going to go to and look you up, and they're probably going to find your Facebook page or your Instagram account. Or they're going to look for you on those platforms. From there, if they're still interested, if you've convinced them at that point that you're worth looking at, then they will go to your website. That's the way that you should look at it. Will some people go directly to your website? Yeah, sure. If you have a 10-year-old site and you have incredible SEO in your local market, will you come up high and they just click on you and end up going straight there? Yeah, sure, maybe. But don't expect that to be the case. That's not how you set up your online presence. Set up your online presence knowing that people participate on Facebook and on YouTube and on Google searching more than they're ever going to participate with your webpage. So when they are on those platforms and they start to look for a yoga, they need to find you there, and they eventually end up back at your webpage. That's the order of events. Congruent in their look and the feel should be congruent with the look and feel of the studio as well. So one of the things that we see happen on occasion is that the online presence, and where this happens quite often is with, what's the example? A band. The band is really good at the production of all of their online stuff. So they have incredible posters, and they have really cool videos, and they produce the videos heavily, and they make the sound be really good. This happened to me a couple of times in Red Deer. So then you follow them online, you're like, man, this band's legit, I really want to go and hear them. Then they come to your town and you go to see them live, and they suck. Their music does not sound good, they're not good instrumentally, they're not tight-knit, they don't have a cool look, the guy looks kind of rough. That's heavily incongruent. Sometimes this happens in the yoga studio world as well. So you go online and you see that they've got some cool things going on Facebook, and they've got a neat video, and they have something that's highly produced, and their pictures all look good, and you're like, wow, this is awesome, I'm super excited. And often how this happens, the videos that are on there, it's not a native video to that one studio. It's a video that, in the Bikram world, there was that video, do you remember this one, Will? And Kate used to go around. It was in London. It was the lady who has all the studios in London, or originally had all the studios in London. Yeah, it's now Fierce Grace, her studio, and it like interviewed some people or whatever else. Every single Bikram studio put that on their website as like the intro video, because it was a good one for,
to start off, they were doing
for 5 years of time. So then people would watch that, but then go into that studio, and it would be a completely different experience from what the video would say. So what happens is sometimes you produce this really well, but then your studio doesn't match. So I'm not saying to underproduce this, but I'm saying keep in mind, what does it feel like when you walk in your studio? What do people see, smell, feel, hear? How are they talked to? All of these factors. And then put that online. That's how you know, what do I put up there? What do they experience when they're in my studio? Make it congruent. Because if you can do that, these 7 points of contact that we're talking about, the 7th and 8th point are when they walk into your studio. When that happens, if it's congruent, they already feel comfortable in the situation, and they're more poised to create rapport and a relationship with you. So this is the starting points of that now. Okay. So there are a couple of major points to be made. We're going to dive into some specific online things. We're going to look at Google, we're going to look at Facebook, we're going to look at your website in just a second, and I'll give you some pointers on that really quick. But before I do, I'm just going to jump the screen share here, okay, Will?
All right.
I thought that this is... Oh, I didn't like it. It's thinking. One of the things to consider, and this we've been alluding to it with everything fitting properly on here.
You go ahead, try it now.
Yeah, I've got the little thinking wheel. It's not joking yet. We'll get there in a second. Is how you communicate on each platform is different. So the way that you could describe this would be to think that even if what you are saying is the same, the way, there we go, you are saying it is different. This is called native content. So anytime you're producing content or you're going to say something on any platform anywhere online, you've got to give respect, we would say, to the platform that you're on. So consider the way that people are consuming the information on that platform, not the way you want to say it or do it, whatever's easy for you. Native content. This is so important for your engagement. When we get to Facebook, we'll talk about how if you want to be better on your Facebook page, you want people to participate with you, engagement is everything. You want people to be engaged and to be participating and having actual communication. Content concept, Facebook as the example again, is so important, and Facebook wants people to stay on their platform as long as possible and as often as possible, that they're actually making rules and guidelines to prohibit people from putting out content that's too shitty. For example, photos on Facebook, you cannot have more than 20% text on the photo.
For an ad.
For an ad. Because they don't want you to have a whole bunch of text-heavy photo going on there, because it doesn't look cool, and because when people look at a photo on Facebook, they want a photo. So they'll boot it off. You put it up there, it'll be down in an hour. So now native content on Facebook is different. This is a good breakdown of how to view it, because you're saying, great, I understand this, let's communicate in the style. Let's speak the language of the platform, which depends on who's on it and what they're expecting to do on it. This is a good breakdown of how we look at it. So if we start on Facebook, we're all about how we're eating cake. Facebook, we say, I like eating cake, and we have a picture of it. Actually, better now, and we'll get to this, you have a video of the cake getting cut into and a fork going into it, and then you say, I like eating cake, but that's it. Instagram, vintage photo of the cake I eat. And you have a really artsy sort of photo of that thing. On YouTube, you say, this is how I eat my cake. And you show people this special cutting technique or whatever, and you video yourself doing it. Pinterest, you pin a recipe for the cake that you make and eat. Here it is. LinkedIn, one of my skills include eating cake. Google Plus, join my cake eating community. We're a bunch of cake eaters. Join my inner circle of cake eaters. We want to do this stuff. Twitter, I'm eating cake right now. Then we have Mind Body on there as well. I mean, it's not quite right, but here's how to burn calories from eating the cake. So depending on the platform that you're talking about, even if all we're talking about is eating cake, the way you deliver it is slightly different. Part of this is their guidelines. Part of this is the actual message that you put out and being respectful for that. If you, for example, go on YouTube and you don't have any sound on a video and you just have a bunch of words that you want people to just read through, that's probably, are they likely to make it through a 5-minute video? Highly unlikely. They didn't go on YouTube to read a bunch of stuff. Now on the other hand, if you go onto Twitter, you can't even write a whole bunch of stuff. It's not even possible. And it show up as a photo or a video. You can link in there, photos do come in now, but that's not the primary reason why people go on there. They go on there to read a quick quip. So if you were to do something else or start a conversation, have the ... and link them to a huge blog post, but the actual Twitter post itself didn't have any real value for someone, no one's going to care about it. That's not why they went onto that platform. Same thing here. You're posting onto Instagram. Instagram is an easy, quick consumption. And the feed starts at the top. They scroll down only a little bit. So once you've posted something, in a few hours, it's kind of gone again. So you need to be posting at a certain frequency to really appear there. And what you're posting needs to be engaging visually. The reason I look on Instagram is for a photo. Doesn't matter how good your writing is underneath, I don't care. And you can test this. If you're not sure that this is true, get a high quality photo of anything and write something really epic down below. Post it. 30 minutes later, post a photo of something that's stupid, but have the exact same writing down below and see which one gets more traction. We don't even need to do it to know what the result will be. Obviously, the one with the photo is where everyone's going to go, where everyone's going to check it out. Facebook is a magic realm of reality. So, in terms of online, email has now become snail mail. That's the equivalent. The website has become what email used to be in terms of with people to some extent. Facebook has now become your website. Instagram has become what Facebook was. Twitter's kind of in there too, but it's a little bit on the outs right now. And there's some new platforms coming up that I think people might jump onto, but those are the big players for the sake of this. YouTube is the left field contact form, but the thing I'll point out about YouTube when we get to it in a second too, is that YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet after Google. So not being on there seems kind of silly. That's where people are searching stuff. We'll go into that a little bit more. Cool. All right, well, you can jump up. Take this back.
What am I doing? Oh, I'll...
Just if you want to.
Dang it. I'm just going to go to Amazon and finish buying something.
Nah, you're right. Sorry, leave it. I'm going to stay on here.
Yeah, good. I'll get back on in just a second, but...
Okay, websites. Let's talk about your website. Number one question with your website, when is the last time you overhauled your website? How old is your website? That's the first question to ask yourself. Studio owners are going to hate me saying this, okay? But this is just the world we live in, and I can't sugarcoat anything. If your website is older than 3 years old, you need to go build a new website. Unless you've done a massive update on it. So it doesn't mean you've got to go from the ground up. All the content on your website is going to transfer over. But if it's older than 3 years old, you need to go and seriously audit and evaluate your website right now. I'm not saying change your web name, everything else. It's not going to change your SEO. What I'm saying, though, is that websites are something that are becoming more and more and more dynamic. Keep this big so it looks fun for people.
Full screen. Yep, there you go.
Websites are something that are becoming more and more dynamic now in terms of the actual website being responsive and everything else, but also what people expect from a website, that's what has changed. So it's not that your website isn't good anymore, it's that what people want to see on the website is different and the way they interact with the website is different. Remember I said Facebook is now what your website was 6 years, 8 years ago. That's your Facebook page, actually, in terms of interaction. If people end up on your website, what does it mean? I've been saying it all week, who can remember?
If they end up on your website?
If I go to your website, what is that equivalent to now?
An ice cream cone.
An ice cream cone. It's equivalent to an ice cream cone. Heart emoji. No. If I go to your website now, it's the same thing. Hear me so clearly on this. This is the same thing as if I show up at your studio. That's how you need to treat it. If I go through the effort to go to your website, right, it's like I walk through the doors of your physical yoga studio. So, what is the experience that someone has walking through the doors of your yoga studio? Or even if it's not what you want it to be, what do you want that experience to be? That has to happen on your website now. I make this point because one of the first website tests, and we're going to do it in just a second, would be if I'm walking on the street and I see your physical yoga studio and I see the sign and I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued, and I open the door and I take a step inside, what would it mean if I go and I walk back out and I leave?
It's like someone coming to your website.
Right? I mean, that would suck, and we'd be like, well, that person was weird. Or they walk up as far as the front desk and they look around and they look at like a pamphlet or something you have and they're like, okay, well, I was just curious about info. See you later. And then they leave. This happens on your website all the time. It's your bounce rate. People go in, 3 seconds later, they don't click on anything, they don't go to another page, they don't read anything, and they're gone. You have 7 seconds to get them. That's the maximum amount of time. Really, you want to be working with like 3.54 seconds. So when someone goes to your website, they need to immediately be engaged. If they're not engaged, you have to have done something so that if someone was to ask them, what was that website about, they could tell you clearly right now. You follow me? So even if they bounce, they know what you're about. Oh, that was a yoga website. So let's bring one up. This is the Nomad Yoga Family website. Ready for the test? We'll let it load. I've got too many things open. Holy cow, it's super slow.
Yeah, it's got.
Look at this, they've got all these things open.
No.
I'm prepped for you guys. I'm going to show you Facebook pages. Alright, well, this is happening because we have every possible internet thing all going at the same time here. But one of the things you do on a test with your site is its load speed. It should load up as fast as possible. So this, if this is load speed, is pretty bad. It's too slow. 3 seconds even is like way too long.
Getting off for now.
What controls your load speed is the size and the quality of the photos, how much detail, the video, whatever else is on there. So you want to talk to whoever's helping with your website to figure out if it's really slow or some of the things that it's trying to load too big. Okay, we look up, there's the website, that's what's above the fold, this is what's below the fold, and then immediately, boom, let's close it down. What was the website about?
Big Earth Roamer.
It was a big truck.
Yep.
We were
Some cool
out in the forest somewhere.
Some cool Instagram pictures.
Right, so it's mediocre. We need to update our site. But it was about adventure of some sort, traveling in a truck of some sort. The reason why that doesn't work for Nomad Yoga Family is that that's only 50% of what we do. So it doesn't completely pass the bounce test. Let's do a yoga studio. Is it We Are Yoga Ormond?
Mm-hmm. The load speed. Hopefully it loads. 2, 3, 4. Did you type it in right?
I think so. No, I didn't.
www. Should be Way Ormond. You can go to wayormond.com. Boom.
We can't use this as the example for the load speed because there's too much stuff.
Right.
There's too much active stuff going on.
Alright.
Test your load speed. You can go online and just be like website speed, and there's a bunch of free things to actually test. Okay, so I'm not going to move or do anything. We just did wayormond.com. People end up on the website, it loads up. This site, I can tell you, actually is a bit slow loading.
Yeah, the pictures, because they're big.
Right, because we have
pictures.
really big, colorful pictures, but the
Chris
format they've been put in here
Right.
is on the large size format.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's one of my issues with it.
there should be something here, right?
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's let it get there.
It's just that elephant.
I know.
The damn elephant.
Ran the damn elephant.
Now, if you guys have already talked about website adjustments.
We're actually in the process of, because we have been at that couple year mark with stuff.
Yeah.
So we've optimized certain things like the mind body schedule widget. So that's on the main page. It is all, what do you call it? Where it sizes down mobile or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
So
Responsive.
the next thing to do is kind of optimize the banner ads in the front. So, because that's been kind of the same for a while on our other site. This one, obviously, too, changing the size of the banner pictures, but sometimes gets a little bit more in depth than just that.
Right. So I'm going to talk about the homepage of a website as we let this go.
Yeah.
But we'll ask about the bounce. But already we could say, if I bounced off this at this point, took too long to load,
Right.
I would think it's colorful. This elephant guy's kind of neat. Like, where do your eyes go first? They're going to go here. That's okay. Because this logo is big and it has the word yoga in it, even if I bounced right away, I would probably be able to tell you that this is a yoga website.
You will.
So that was good. What photo shows up here next, that's what's going to be really relevant for whether I know it's a yoga website. You guys that it does. This is the bounce test. For a lot of yoga studios out there, even really nice, high quality, brand new sites, they fail this test. You go there, 1, 2, 3, exit out. What was it about? Or, if you really want to get good at this, we take it to the next level. What's the message of what you just saw? It's beyond just, it's a yoga website. Because here's the other truth. There's 1,000,001 yoga websites. Some of them are yoga studios. Some of them are online yoga studios. Some of them are not yoga studios. They're just about yoga product. So if your yoga studio website and a yoga product website have the feel or the appearance at first quick glance to be essentially the same, you might not be clearly communicating right away who you are and what you do. What do you do? Do you make clothes or do you have yoga classes? What is it? And then remember with our marketing, carving it out to what is your real core message? What is your value proposition? So can you visually make it happen that right away people understand by ending up on your site what you do and what you're about? Now, what's interesting is that a lot of I can't think of one right now, but a lot of Bikram yoga sites, they've got the picture of like the person holding the foot and standing head to knee, and it's just the picture of the hands and there's sweat dripping off of it. So that does say yoga posture and sweating, but also it's an individual and it looks kind of hardcore. That might be okay if that's what you're going for, but is that actually your prime clientele? As opposed to a group of people with the yoga mat over their shoulder, smiling and like shaking hands or high-fiving each other. Which message is your... There's a difference. Maybe it's on my side here.
No, it's doing it on mine.
Doing yours too.
You had it up? You have it up, just jump on.
I had it up. I haven't had it up here, but...
Yeah, they're pictures of inside the studio, like what you'd see if you walked in the front door.
When you open the door, it's the pic. I thought
that,
so.
And then it's people in the room, like in a mirror.
Right.
So you would basically
and it
see.
Scrolls through.
Yeah, you would see exactly what you'd see if you walked in, looked in the yoga room, and then our retail on the way out.
Right. So there's a lot of reasons why those photos should be there, but in terms of the bounce, we're just talking about the bounce. 3 seconds. I look at it, I X out, and I'm gone. I can see yoga studio. But what was the memorable thing is going to end up being this elephant guy, the logo, which works as long as he appears everywhere else around town. That's kind of okay. But did it communicate the message of what the studio is about? So that's harder to do, but this is the point that I'm making, is that you want that to happen as quickly as possible. There is a lot of argument in this case for you not posting a picture of someone doing yoga postures. Don't have pictures of people doing yoga on your yoga website, at least not primarily. Because they care about what's in it for me, they only buy transformation, and they're willing to join a community. Can you communicate a transformation and a community? What's the benefit? What's in it for me? Can you visually communicate that first? Having pictures of a yoga class could be, not always, but could be intimidating. and doesn't necessarily indicate that it's going to equal transformation, and doesn't necessarily indicate strong community. So it's not that you wouldn't have yoga postures ever, or that you can't, but you've got to really strategize what they are and what they say, and what the image is, and understand how people might connect to it. So look at it in a new way. If you've got a picture of, and this is from the fitness era, from the previous era of marketing, the fitness era, you would have a picture of someone who was ultra fit, doing something really cool. If your homepage has someone in a standing bow pulling pose with six-pack abs locked out, who can do that? I've been practicing for over a decade of time, and I'm no fucking where near that. Why would that photo represent your studio the best? Because that one special person can do that? Is that your prime client? Is that who you're going for? Probably not. Now, on the other hand, if you're Joseph Encinia and you're a yoga champion, and then you decide that you're going to launch a website that's to train people for being a yoga champion, that picture would make sense. I'll make you do this, and I can prove that I can do it. That makes sense. But it doesn't make sense for a beginning yoga class studio. And who's the clientele? Is it a bunch of 20-year-old university students? Is that your prime client? When we make our avatars, is that who's normally coming into your studio? What do they want to see? Or is it a bunch of hipster dudes from San Francisco? Is that your prime client? What do they want to see? Is it a bunch of 60-plus-year-old people because that's where you live, and they're beach people and they want to roll in and just make sure that their back feels good? What do they want to see? So who is your, this is why this ties into marketing, but this is why this also matters. This is like them walking into your studio. What else should be on the homepage? Why does someone go to your website? Because it's like them walking to the studio without the commitment of getting in their car and driving down there. So they want more information. The primary information they want is your schedule and your prices. But, which is a reason why on your homepage it's a good idea to have something about a price and something about a schedule. That is a good idea. They also want your address. How do I actually find you? So let's say these three things should be on there in some form, but here's the caveat. If it's the same as walking into a studio, if I walk into your studio and I say, hey, I'm interested in yoga, and you say to me, here's my pricing, here's a copy of my schedule, we'd love to have you. Is that good enough?
No.
Not even close. I blew it. Right. If I walk into your studio, you should come out from the desk and introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Josh, nice to meet you. What's your interest in, you're interested in doing some yoga with us? We'd be really happy to have you. What's your interest in a yoga practice? Let me give you a tour. Based on what they say, I fill in the content. Oh, you want to lose weight? Yeah, this yoga is very good for that. Oh, you want to fix your bum knee? This yoga is very good for that. You're looking for something that's lower impact but still gives you that good fitness feel? Yep, my yoga can do that. Or not, depending on what you do. You want something that increases the variety of your fitness routine or of your health routine? Yeah, we've got 6 classes, 6 different styles of classes to offer. Or this particular yoga is incredibly potent at creating that. Sure, yeah. It's different every time. The information I'm telling you it has nothing to do with the price and the schedule. Those are the things that we do. That's how you do what my product is. You care about what's the benefit. I'm going to convince you that my product will give you that benefit. How you're going to do it is by buying something and coming at these times. So the end of the tour and the end of the conversation, then I give you, here's a copy of the schedule or download my app. And as a first person, we have an intro class. I'm not going to give you all the prices, just the intro. It's the only thing that matters. So your home page is the same thing. Price and schedule should be on there, but the communication of the home page should be the studio tour. And remember, they only care about what's in it for me. It's the benefits. What do they get from participating with you? This has to be on the home page. They are not going to click on the about and find the description of things or whatever else. So we have a good welcome, and we sort of start talking here. Remember, whenever you're writing something, make it small and easy for them to read and make it seem like it's having a conversation with someone. So just the way that you word it like you're talking to somebody directly. Then we have yoga classes and a quick description of them. We have the location, that's really easy. We have today's schedule, it's loading still, but it's there. We have a testimonial. Testimonials are massive, definitely have testimonials, definitely on the homepage. Then we have more stuff down below, and because we've put it in this different colored block, it makes it feel like it doesn't mess up all the stuff up here, so that's good. So there's a lot of good things happening here. One thing I would say is that this is still, and this site's a few years old, the way that I have to consume this site is it's visual to begin with, but it's very word heavy still. There's not even a lot of words on here, but I would have to read through all of this to get all that information. So we want to try communicating it in a different way. And the only other thing I would say is, it's good that we have information about all the classes, but what I would say is this might not be, this is taking up a lot of space. We could better utilize this space and communicate the fact that we have a variety of classes that range from here to here and they accomplish this to this. What we're missing here is a huge push on the real benefit of me coming to your studio. That's what I would say the big improvement would be. The testimonial should be, the location could be down below further, people will look for it, or it could be up in the top corner smaller. But I like that they could click on it, because if I went here on my phone, because I'm going to, and I was looking for you, I could click on that and then Google would link through the Pages app on my phone and I would be able to get navigation to your studio. So that is a good idea to have. When we have the testimonial, we could move it up, have it more highlighted slightly, and then also, here's the thing about testimonials in general for anywhere that you put them. In a survey, 60% to 75% of people believe that written testimonials are faked.
You get a video.
What's interesting is that those same people who believe they were faked, 50 to 60% of them believe that video testimonials are real. So it's not just that they're skeptical about testimonials, it's the fact that they're written that makes a difference. So if you really want testimonials to be potent, you want a video testimonial. And it should feel real. We talked about video. Creating a video right now is never been easier. If you have a new iPhone, it's just, there you go, that's it. It doesn't need to be long, it doesn't need to be special, it doesn't need to be highly edited, it doesn't have to have words, it doesn't need to have any production value at all. It needs to be still, and the sound quality needs to be good enough that it's really easy to hear. That's the only criteria. So, you don't need a ton of video testimonials either. You only need 1 or 2 to start with. So if you don't have a video testimonial and you want one, you could literally get one and throw it on there today, and there you go. So that would be an easy thing to do to upgrade anybody's site right away. But we still have to define, we've defined around the same marketing concepts we've talked about. People care about what's in it for me. We only buy transformation. We've got to clearly communicate our unique value proposition, our message. Who is your website primarily targeted for? That's a question you must ask yourself. Now, a site like this is a good example. Most yoga sites are even way more to this side, where we have a huge, massive 10-page, I mean, how many pages are on this site? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I mean, we've got like a 20-page website. That's a big website now. Because we could do the same thing in terms of what I really want my website for in 1 page. Now, I'm not saying you should cut it down to 1 page. And for SEO reasons, especially with the clout of how old this site is, it's good to have all of that information.
Especially when you work with an agency or whoever, like a bigger company, and they tell you that, you know.
Yeah, you want all this extra content and stuff in it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, having all that is fine. But when we're putting all this stuff on the site, and we spent our time writing all this stuff, and it's all in there, and there's all these pages, and there's this testimonial, and then there's about this, and then there's this, and then there's these things. When we do all of these things, we Sometimes lose focus about what really the website is. Who are we targeting the website for? Who do we really care about the website for? Is it for your regular members? Is that primarily who we want using our website?
Or try to attract new students?
No, it's new students, right. I want a website because I want you to walk in my door so I can sell you something. If you're an existing client and you go and consume this information and that enhances your experience, then this becomes a great tool for me to point you towards and to link to and to create blog posts on and whatever. But if you're that interested in me, you're going to go through the effort to find it. You'll scroll through and you'll click and you're whatever else. So it can be on the back side of things. The primary person that I'm focusing my website for is for a brand new student. So your home page has to have a heavy push towards what a new student needs to hear. Why are they coming in? How can you get them to what that is that they want? And how can they consume it very easily? The one major X on this page is the example, is there is no clear call to action. There's nothing here that says, buy the intro here, click this button, or what it is. So everyone watching as well, go into your home page and check this. If you don't have a clear, singular call to action for a new student, so it's going to be your intro, it's really easy with the Yoga Studio, that needs to get up there. You may go as far as, let's find another example. This is an old site as well, so it would need an update. Come on, internet, let's go. Let's do it here. You may go as far as walking through what the required steps are for a new student to get registered at the studio, especially if you want them registering online. And if you're not sure if you do, the answer is yes, you do. If people ever go online and want to just give you money and then come in and practice your yoga, please make it easy for them. Every online sale you make in general, and in our KPI reporting we talked about this, it's a sale that you didn't have to do anything for. I mean, not really, like you had to convince them in some way, but there was no potential of human error on the desk side of things. If someone's ready to be like, click buy on their phone, then make it easy for them to do that. Do the best that you can to create that situation. Holy cow. Yeah, see, this isn't your site. This is my computer or this web.
Well, no, I was doing it over on my, it's just we got too many things going on.
There's too many things going on. Okay. So make a very clear call to action. That's the big thing. The call to action is going to primarily be your intro special. But again, when I walk in, you're not going to say, are you new to the studio? You should buy my intro special. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is, hi, welcome, how can I help you? What are you looking to get? I'm going to convince you that I can get that to you. How do you do it? By my intro. So the message in our visuals and the message in our writing is more about the what's in it for me concept. What are the common reasons somebody comes in? Those 5 avatars we created. What are the reasons they're ending up on your website? What do they need to hear? That's what we're going to tell them. And then we're going to make it easy as anything for them to buy our intro pass by having a clear call to action that's highlighted, that sticks out. And if there's more than one step, came up there?
I got you. Yeah,
Great.
Check it out. You can look.
The first thing that pops up is visual, boom, 1 month intro, $39. Scroll down a little bit. Let's get hot, register today.
It's unable to connect, hold on.
Oh, we're flopping there?
Yeah, we flop. Alright, we're live.
We're live? Okay.
Sorry, back up for a second.
So, we had graffiti in our studio, that's why this is here. We had 2 graffiti walls. So this worked. This video right here is me talking on a TV channel that drove up from Calgary a couple hours away to interview us, because we were making noise there too at the time. And I talk about why someone would do a yoga practice and how anyone could do a yoga practice, and that it's not about the yoga, it's about what you get out of the yoga. It's the benefits of it. So if they end up on this, what we didn't have was this a little bit more highlighted, it's not autoplayed. And this is all pretty good, but this is actually, this is an old website now. This is a little bit dated. So this is fine, but if I was to redo it, I would be changing a lot of things on there now.
This is
Yeah, there we go. So like this is pretty good. Like, hey, we're a fun studio, we're colorful, we're gonna do it on the beach. Hey, here's someone doing a posture, whatever else. You know, we got some branded yoga swag. So these things are all pretty good. This is what it's like when we come into our studio. So I like this. You know what's missing here though is I would have one of these photos as the first one, and it would be more like someone falling out of a posture with sand on their face, you know, for your guys' attitude, and then other people being like, yay, like high five about it. Because that's more of who we are and what we do in this environment in that case. Okay, clear call to action. It has to have a clear call to action. Who is your webpage for primarily? Angle your primary message for your new student. That's who your webpage is for. That's what really matters. Remember, be different early and often. If you're not sure, we did the secret shopper yesterday, actually going into a competitor's studio. Go to all of your local competitors' yoga studio web pages. What does it look like? What's their message? What do they have on there? Then do something else. If you go, the other reason on the example of that Bikram Yoga Red Deer old site from our old studio, the reason why we had all the color and the huge elephant head, and it's funny actually, we both had an elephant head, I didn't think of that. And all of this weird stuff in the graffiti, and even the reason why in our studio we had all that is because every other studio in town, and there were more than 10 of them, their website was white, super clean, with the picture of someone doing a yoga posture that despite, they're doing like handstand scorpion, but they're smiling like, this is so easy, you know? And I was like, that's not how I feel doing yoga. That's not who we are. Our studio isn't a super white, clean, I mean it's clean, but it's not a super like low impact space. We're more hard hitting. We played German reggae music pumped really loud when you came in, and hip hop, and had graffiti walls, and it was like a bit crazy. So we wanted our site to appear that way too, because that was more us, but also it was completely different from everybody else. So the people who didn't like that, they wouldn't come. But I was willing to let them go to stand out from the crowd. And that's more important. Your website is a huge component of this as well. So your top priorities: call to action, brainlessly easy. Click here to buy the intro, simple. Next thing is, off the first page, you should have a new student page. You should have a page that is specifically for new students. Don't confuse this with what I just said. The primary purpose of even your homepage is for your new students. But if you make a huge, massive, content-heavy homepage, it takes forever to load, nobody's going to read it all, they're not interested, and it actually detracts from the good stuff you did on there. So think of your homepage as more like the sexy landing place that they end up with a clear call to action to buy your intro. Secondarily, have a page that's highlighted that's specifically for a new student. Call it a newbies page, new student page, a how to start page, or whatever. Right. That's where you get to put all of this stuff in there. What we recommend, what to expect, things to remember. Do these in video format nowadays if you want to really amp it up, it's even better. Again, and have testimonials, have more than one testimonial, have a video testimonial. Again, have the address so that people know how to find you. And again, if someone has expressed enough interest to go to your website and stay on it long enough to realize that you have a newbie page and then click on the new student page, this page better sell them the intro pass. So the call to action has to be here as well. It needs to be highlighted, it needs to be clear, it needs to be strong. So it has to exist on the newbies page. The newbies page does something else beneficial for you. It gives you a lot of heavy content for your SEO so that new students looking for a yoga practice end up on your place. It gives you a page where you are able to send your new students to, sure, we can bring it up,
I'm doing bringing cakes up.
Yeah, bring it up here too. It gives you a new students page where we can send people to if they want more information. And the content that you go through the effort of creating on your new students page, you can recycle in like 100 ways. It can become a blog post, it can become an email, it can become a Facebook post. It can become multiples of these things because there's a lot of information, you pull different things out. So during our pipelines, one of the example emails that I gave you guys the template for is the email, it's a manual send, it's called How to Survive Hot Yoga. That is essentially the exact same thing as what the newbies page is. I'm just recycling it, rewording it, making it look slightly different, and then sending it to them in an email in case they didn't read the newbies page. Because again, remember, 7 points of contact for someone to be interested in what's going on. It takes at least, again, that 3, depending on who you ask, 3 to 7 times hearing the same message for it to sink in. And in terms of a new student and their success, what we really want is that somebody gets caught up in the benefits of your yoga practice. So they need to practice frequently, they need to keep practicing over the course of their intro pass. If you're a hot yoga studio and someone is really poor at hydration and they come in dehydrated every day, or they eat a Big Mac, they eat a Big Mac, used to be green?
It's supposed to be all green.
Well, there you go, that's interesting.
It might.
So, maybe it's still loaded.
Well, it says it's loaded.
But if you don't give the new people the information of how to succeed and then they don't succeed, then there's a problem and it ends up hurting us over the long term. Okay, we'll let this jump back up again. Now, right now, what's currently on trend for websites in general is to make sure that the website is visually appealing with real photos, not stock photos, that it's not word heavy, that it has video, and that the total site itself is easy to consume. So there aren't 20 pages anymore. Now you might still have that on your site, that's okay, I'm not saying that you would cut that out, but what I'm saying is the appearance of the site should be that there's like 2 or 3 things, that's it.
It should be like the mind body. It's probably not loaded.
Yeah,
it'll load
there it is right here.
Yeah.
So this is a mind body widget loading issue as well.
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah, see?
Great.
Oh look, way too many cosmos.
Way too many cosmos.
But someone can come to your site. Now, other than the new student, that's who we're primarily building it all out for. Why does somebody go to your website? To check your prices and to check your schedule. The other information, they might consume it as well, that's really good, but you need to have a pricing page, you need to have a schedule page. So now, if we think about it, if we only put these things, if we were to only put these things on a website, what do we have? We have the home page that's geared towards new students and is exciting. We have a new student page, which is geared completely towards new students with a call to action. We have a general pricing page and a schedule page. That's it. 4-page website. So when you're thinking about a redo, these are the pages that you push. Everything else is second. Testimonials are big. Videos are important to have on there. 2 to 3 years, every 2 to 3 years, that's when you want to have your site redone. The total site must be responsive. Not it should be, not it's a best practice. You have to have a responsive site.
You could buy all these things.
Awesome.
I have too many.
Private, out of town,
next week I won't.
teacher, student.
Okay, this is a good point. We're not knocking on anything, but let's use this as the example, okay? Someone ends up on your pricing page, because they're going to. If they're on your intro and they're like, I'm interested in continuing along, I want to buy something else. Whether you know it or not, they're going to go look here. They have to consume all of this. They have to go through and they start to compare and contrast, and there's a lot of numbers, and they're going to get their calculator out. And the result would be they might bounce off and be like, this is too complicated for me. The problem is, if it was too complicated in the past, they might have phoned you and asked to talk about it, or they might have asked you at the studio. Realistically, what happens now is they don't do that. Consumers are lazy about it. They want to be informed, but they're lazy to follow through in the person-to-person. So this is just another point, because we already worked on your pricing. This is another point to be made about the simplification of pricing and keeping your options to that 5 to 7 maximum, even less if it's possible, that then they end up here on the real tight end of things. It might be drop-in, intro, 10 class, auto pay. That's it. It takes up this much space. You make the auto pay be this big, and it has a list of all the benefits that are associated with practice, and the auto pay is the best way to do it. It becomes a sales technique. So the schedule page, people need to find the schedule and how to sign up. But the schedule page, you remember, you're always marketing, you're always selling. Your schedule is selling practice consistency and practice frequency. Your pricing page is selling practice consistency and practice frequency, but it's selling the benefit that they get from the practice. That's actually the purpose of your pricing page. Will your prices be there? 100% yes. What is it selling? It's selling how awesome practicing is. Because I'm expressing interest going on.
No, it hasn't loaded yet. Because it's Mind Body too. The teacher's page is
right. Teacher's page is Mind Body too.
The top one is just me.
Right. So the rates, the pricing page. Let's just hear me clearly on this. If someone is going to your pricing page, you have to backtrack and think, what does it mean? If I'm no. If I'm going to your pricing page, what does it mean? It means that I'm interested in making a purchase. Whether I will or not, we don't know, but I'm interested in it. So this isn't just an educate them page. This is the same thing with the old school thought that if I go to your desk and ask about your prices, you educate me on your prices. That's not what you do. That's part of it. You need to sell me a yoga pass. That's what this page has to do. It has to sell them a yoga pass. So, what are some things that should be on a pricing page? Your prices, yes. A list of the benefits that are common to whatever your yoga offers, 100% yes. Testimonials, video testimonials, 100% yes. Something that's super inspirational and uplifting and pumps people up and makes them want to keep practicing, yes. That stuff should be on a pricing page. Constant sales. Schedule page, less so, but the same thing. What's on a schedule page? The schedule, yes. But what else is on the schedule page? Something that's exciting to get people to want to practice more. These are the benefits from a regular practice. It's so easy to improve your life. How do you do it? Sign up for a class. That's the messaging of the page. So start looking at your web page as the place that people end up as a result of your social media, and when they end up there, define the purpose of the individual pages. Understand that everything is marketing, which means everything is selling, and you never stop selling ever. It has to push your message that's pertinent to what has been indicated by the person visiting that page. They go to your newbies page, you're selling them the intro pass. You're selling them the starting line, how to get started, what you need to do to succeed, what are the common benefits, what is it you need to do to really start to see results right now. That messaging should be part of that as well. So the way we look at our website needs to change. 90% of yoga websites out there are mediocre. Even if they look good, even if they're expensive, even if they have all this fancy stuff on them, the feeling of them isn't as enticing as it could be. So they lose a lot of effort. And we know that we spend lots of money on some of these sites. Now, to that point, some people will say, I can't afford in my business to redo my website. It's 5 years old, it's 8 years old, I can't afford to redo it. Okay, but put it in the pipeline of things you're going to be doing. You're going to be redoing your website. If your website is old and you have to redo it and you can't do it right now, I understand, but start planning for it. How do we get the money and start putting it aside so that we're ready to redo the website because we need to do it? In the meantime, what can I do to enhance my site to the best of its ability right now? Can I change a picture? Can I add a video? Can I change how this looks? Can I reword this? And just do a little bit. Just do the best you can with what you have. And the final point to that is, can you afford to redo it every 3 years as a yoga studio? Probably not if you're spending $10,000 per website.
You don't have to.
But you don't have to anymore. This is the other.
I can do all myself.
Right. Here's the beautiful thing. What platform is it on? Kate, what platform?
Square.
Squarespace. Right. My site too is a Squarespace site. That was a Squarespace
Whoa,
site.
whoa, should be getting some money from Squarespace right now, is what I'm saying.
It's
Plug in
so
Squarespace.
easy. I can barely.
Or
do it.
Wix. Wix is another one that's common now. They've upped their game recently. Wix is way better than it's been. The one that I have to talk about, because I really think these guys, I wasn't sure if they were going to make it through or not. They're a MindBody partner and they're called Live Edit. Live Edit is directly associated. They've gone through the MindBody API. The reason I mention it is that their pricing, I think, is very fair. They have pre-made templates. So if you want to be like, I need a site today, it could happen actually with very little effort. And their whole builder is really cool, just like the other ones we're talking about. It's just drag and drop. The difference is it has all of the drag and drop keys for MindBody. So if you're like, I want my MindBody pricing right here, you just drop it over and it just shows up there. So it's so easy, and to update it and to change things and to move things is so easy that it's a piece of cake to refurbish your website multiple times if you want to over the course of the longer term. Last thing I'll say too, anytime you change something major in your business, it gives you an opportunity to remarket your business again. So if you change your website, use that as a marketing event. Holy cow, we have an epic new website, check it out. When we changed our website, we did a weird little thing because all my German friends, at Christmas time, they put the pickle on the tree or the pickle under the tree. You heard this before?
No.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It made me think of the concept. I want people to go and scroll through and to know and to learn about our whole website because we had the big, huge website. I want everyone in town to see the website and I want its local SEO to go way up over everybody else. So we had for a month a Find the Pickle campaign. And we made a little pickle emoji that we hid on the site somewhere. And you had to go and find it once a week. And everyone who found it would email in where they found it and click on it. And then they would be entered in a draw for something. Then the next week we would do it again. Now, it wasn't like a hugely successful thing, but the result was we doubled the visits to our site that month and everyone got really familiar with our site and spent a lot of time on it. So it helped the SEO of the whole site. Okay.
Kate loves that game.
Find the pickle. Find the pickle. Okay. Keep your site up to date. So one of the things that I notice happening quite often is that if I do want information about your business, and as a traveler I'm doing this often, I'm going on and finding people's websites. I'll try to find an app for you, or I'll look you up in the MindBody app, and then the next place I'm going to look is going to be on your website if I want something like your schedule, price, or whatever else. So it's one of the places that I look. What I find often is an incongruency. The schedule posted to Facebook or the MindBody app and the website are all different things. Or it says on the website that there's an 11 o'clock class and it's this type of class, but then when I go to the MindBody scheduler, it's actually moved to 10:45 and it's a completely different class. And if I didn't check that, I might show up at the wrong time. So no, that's why we have that marketing checklist as well. You can make a checklist like that for this. Anytime you change or do something, you've got to keep updating the site. The other thing about how SEO works on your site, besides the back end of things, is how often people go to the site, how long they stay on the site, if they click things on the site, if other people have backlinked to the site, that's huge. So if my site links to your site, it makes your site be more important in the eyes of Google. So you want to create that relationship whenever possible. But then also how often on my end the site is updated. Is it an active site? So if you set it and forget it, you've never changed anything on your site for the last however long of time, then the importance of that site starts to go down slightly. This is why the one other page that might be a good idea if you're pumped on doing it is a blog. You have a blog page. And your blog could be anything. You could put videos in there, you could put written content in there, whatever. But it's just something that you, whenever you have if you do a monthly newsletter, a lot of yoga studios still do a monthly newsletter, that should go into the blog on the page. Then every month, there's a bunch more content going on the page. It doesn't matter if your people read it or not, it just keeps your page really active. The other thing is in terms of SEO, the spiders of Google that search your page are searching for keywords. So, for example, if you have a Bikram yoga studio and in your local market there are other hot yoga studios, if everywhere that you say yoga, you say Bikram yoga, then you will show up very high in the Bikram yoga search. But when most people who are brand new are looking for a yoga studio, do they search yoga or do they search Bikram yoga? The second test is, do they search hot yoga or do they search Bikram yoga? A lot of them might search Bikram, but unless they're specifically looking for that class, they're probably going to just put in hot yoga. So anywhere that it says Bikram yoga or just yoga, it should say Bikram hot yoga. Because then, and if that appears on every page 6 times, that will up those search results as well. If you drop a blog post in once a month, at least, and every time that it talks about something, it's always talking about Bikram hot yoga, it's going to bump up those search results. So figuring out what the good keywords are for the search results in your local area is a good idea. What's the site called? How do you find it out? You can go onto, if you do Google advertising, you can do the Google Analytics page and the Google AdWords page, and you can pull up keyword searches. And you can look in your local area how many people are searching for specific keywords. So that'll also tell you exactly how to do that. I'm not going to walk you through how to do that right now. If you can't figure it out and you really, really want to, please message me and we'll get on together and check it out. But you can actually search, you know, in terms of yoga and related keywords to yoga, what are the words that people are using when they're searching for yoga in our local area? If they're always putting yoga classes, then those words need to be in your webpage. If they're putting in hot yoga, if they're putting in yoga pants, if they're putting in whatever, those words should appear as well. Moving on. Facebook page. You have to have a Facebook page. I don't care how much you like Facebook or not. Facebook is en route to take over the world. There's going to be some sort of an online war. It's going to be between Facebook, Amazon, and Google. Apple's probably going to be in there too. That's what's actually happening. Facebook is figuring out how to leverage every single angle possible. To be clear, Facebook also owns Instagram. So Instagram and Facebook totally tied in together.
That was one of my first ads, like forever ago. It's 7 years ago.
This is what a yoga ad looked like 7 years ago.
Click on it.
I mean, if you now.
Hold on.
This is not the ad that we want to put up.
But it was pretty funny.
This is good. I mean,
It said something, Casper and Friends, the friendliest yogi of them all.
I'm sure Casper hated that. Okay, I'm going to steal the screen here again.
It's too nice to hate it.
Okay?
Hold on. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, first thing with your Facebook page, it should be congruent with your other things.
I gotta turn mine off.
You can't make the whole Facebook page be completely different than... You can't make your whole Facebook page look different than it does Facebook, but everything that you do put on there should fit with your message and should fit with what your other stuff looks like. This is an example of a pretty well-made Facebook page. Scroll up all the way. One thing that if you didn't know this, is really easy to do is you can have a video up here now. Put a video up there. It's a good idea. The other thing is, whatever picture this is, if it's all stretched and distorted and looks ridiculous, not good enough, fix it. Okay? You click on the help suite for the Facebook guidelines. It will tell you the exact size of what this is. Get someone to help you resize a good photo and put it up there. If this image right here and that image right there are exactly the same thing, that's not a best practice. Make them be different. This is more like your logo, but again, it should fit properly, just like this does. Now, just like your web page, when you go to this page and you look here, LL Bean, the name says a lot, but what are these guys actually about? Now, they're a clothing brand, but be an outsider. Like right away, they're telling you what they're about and they're showing it to you, and they're connecting it to who's their market. It's definitely going to be family outdoors people. There it is. And it's sort of comical, that little image that just repeats right there. The other thing is when we go down through their posts, video, photo, videos, article on something, video, notice the trend? So one of the things is this autoplays the video now. Facebook will autoplay videos on your phone, and if you scroll past it after you've been watching it, it pops it up to the side so that you can keep watching it as you can keep scrolling. Facebook is putting a tremendous amount of weight right now onto video. My thought process of why is that they know that YouTube is the world's second largest search platform. They want to take that over. It used to be that if you dropped a YouTube video into a post on Facebook, that it would pop up and play. Now, it will appear like it's something that has been shared and stays small and someone has to click on it because they don't want you to leave Facebook. So if you're going to post a video to Facebook, it should not be a YouTube video that you share to Facebook, it should be a video directly to Facebook. Then it will autoplay and it will appear bigger and different as well. Interesting, no?
Yeah.
The other thing is the algorithm for Facebook has recently changed. You will have more traction if you post a picture or a carousel of pictures with your text. So just putting text is the lowest level. Adding media with it amps it up. If you put a video with it, it weights it even higher. What does that mean? If you have 1,000 people who are part of your Facebook page, look at Nutella's. Nutella's is great too. It's very clear what this page is. They don't have a video, they just have the photo, but like a smiley face with Nutella on a pancake, this is perfect. This is exactly what their brand wants to say. This is a good page. Then they have a bunch of videos right away that comes up down below. But if you have 1,000 people who like your page or follow your page, and you make a post, there's no guarantee that all 1,000 of them will see the post. In fact, it will only be served up to a certain percentage of them, and it's the Facebook algorithm that calculates what percentage and who sees it. They will give you more weight or more traction for a video. So by posting videos, you will reach more of the 1,000 people. This is important because it used to be that it would go to all 1,000 of them. It doesn't do that anymore. It's possible it only goes to 10. So even though these guys have 32 million people who like it, they're not all going to get a post from these guys. But when they post a video, a higher percentage will, and it will get served up to them more frequently. If someone interacts with them, then it will make more people see it as well. It will tell people who are mutually friends and have liked this that they've interacted with it. And if I've interacted with your page this week, the likelihood of me getting to see a post from your page next week doubles immediately. If I've just liked it, it goes up higher if I've commented, and the holy grail of interaction is a share. If I share a post from you, I will see posts from you immediately for the rest of the time.
How does that work for Instagram? How do you get on their news feed?
Instagram is interesting because they're changing the algorithm. To my understanding right now, that hasn't gone to here yet. They're trying to make sure that they slowly and delicately change Instagram towards this so that they can monetize it better. But right now, they understand the value of native content. Why is someone on Instagram? Because they want to see a photo, they want to just scroll through and there it is. I like this, maybe I'll comment on that, whatever else. It's not even about sharing things on Instagram. That's why there's separate apps to do reposts. That's not really the purpose of it. So there's a lot of talk about where that's going to go. Right now, it seems like they have Facebook for that purpose, so they're a little bit reluctant to do it on Instagram because that's not why and how people are consuming Instagram. If they start changing those things, they have recently made some changes on Instagram. So one of them is you don't see everything anymore. You used to. Now they decide what you see.
Right.
And a lot of people put a lot of negative backlash out for that. I don't want you to decide what I see. I just want to see it.
Yeah.
That's why I decided to like someone or not. You're saying I'm too stupid to unfollow you if I don't want to see your content anymore. You're making that decision for me. So people were upset about that, but it's the first step towards moving towards something that they have more control over and can leverage. Why does all of this exist? Marketers ruin everything, but marketers pay the bills. These guys make more money from advertising and from marketers than they do from other people using the platform. On the other hand, if the platform is not user-friendly and no one wants to be on it anymore, no one uses it. Here's the next point about Facebook. You should have a business page just like these guys do. Why? When we talk about exit strategy, this adds value. If these guys were to sell this business, this would be an asset. Look how many people like us on Facebook. This is how much traction we have. If you want to sell a product or launch something new as this business, as Nutella, just post it on Facebook. Instantly, a large portion of these people are going to see it. Boost the post, and more of those people are going to see it. Target these people who have liked it and their friends, and more of those people are going to see it in an ad. So this becomes a massive asset, and this is a really high value added to the business. Now, if I'm going to buy a yoga studio and I go on their Facebook page and they've been operating for 10 years and they have 300 likes or 500 likes, their Mind-Body account has 6,000 people in it. There should be at least 6,000 people on there. It's another way to communicate to the clients. They don't have that. Plus, these might be people who are not actually a patron of your business yet. So this becomes an asset. You do want to build it up. Having the business page is something you can sell. If you have a personal page associated, that's fine. But your personal page isn't something you can sell. You're not going to sell someone your Lindsay App's personal Facebook page. And maybe you are. Maybe you are. But
The Lindsay app.
Here's the problem, though. The truth is, from the consumer standpoint, no one gives a shit about business pages. So yes, you have to have it. Yes, you want to build it up. But on the other hand, people don't actually care so much about the business page. So you have to really prompt them to do it. One of the things is in the marketing, we talked about having like a social media month. And during one of those weeks, we prompted people to do a review. But in one of the weeks, we also prompted people to make a post on our business page and to like the business page. Ask them to do it. It also means that whatever you post on the page, we'll talk about that in a second in general, if it's not interesting, if it's not engaging, if it's just selling me, or if it's just saying like, hey, here's the schedule today, I don't give a shit about it. It has no value, it doesn't enhance my life in any way, shape, or form. So I'm not going to care, and I will not follow you. So you've got to be careful with that. Your business page is something you do want to build, but generally people don't care about it. So you've got to start to ask them to care about it and then put stuff up there that they actually do care about. This comes back to our general marketing concept as well. Always add value. How can you add value to the lives of the people that you're communicating with? This page, I think, is a good example. How do these guys add value? Well, one, they have a whole bunch of videos. Two, they're making me feel hungry. It's about them all the time, but they're giving you different concepts of how you can do it. They're even using pop culture, like they had Game of Thrones in there all of a sudden, so it's current. So this stuff is interesting to me. Oh, here's a new way for you to use Nutella. Breakfast throughout history. Here's what breakfast looked like. This is amusing to me. It's funny. Every single time, guess what? Nutella's there. So it's a silly example, but an easy example to see why I would keep engaging with these guys. I like Nutella. They put something out. It makes me smile, and I just remember the brand as brand recognition. Facebook ads are something that'll come up. They're a good idea. Boosting a post is not the same as a Facebook ad. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Be sure that Facebook backlinks to your site. So remember I said that if you want your site's SEO, its searchability to improve, then you want backlinks. So you want another site that has a lot of traction, a lot of people like it, a lot of people are connected to it. You want it to backlink to your site. This is another primary reason why you must have a Facebook page. Facebook is in the top 3 visited sites on the entire planet. So by having your own page and then having a link that goes back to your website, there's a strong backlink to your business. If you don't have that set up, you're missing a lot of the ability of your website to reach people as well. So again, another reason why you should have a Facebook page. Get your reviews going on Facebook. It's one of the places that people look for it. You should be hitting 4.8, 4.9, 5.0 stars, and you should have multiple reviews. Try to get hundreds of reviews going. Make sure that your newbie page is linked to the site. So if people find you on Facebook and they want to go check something out, I would say it's a good idea for you to prompt them to end up sending you a message or interacting with you on Facebook. Yes, sharing your stuff, yes, but also if they click through to a link, don't just send them to your homepage because they'll just bounce off it. Send them to a landing page or to a blog post or to your newbie page. Send them to somewhere where it's going to communicate with them based on the fact that they found you through Facebook. Facebook messages, respond to them immediately, have something going up. So you've got to check your Facebook every single day. Every day. Just take a look at it. Let's talk about posting on Facebook for a second. Engagement matters with the post. So if you want your people to see your post on Facebook, how engaged they are with it matters. It means they have to like the post. You want them to comment on the post if possible. And we said already the holy grail in Facebook is sharing the post. If your post is so good that I click share and I put it on my page to everyone, Facebook says, oh, this must be really important, this post. This post matters so much that Will shared it onto his page. So I'll show it to more of your people because they'll probably be interested in it too. Because Facebook wants people to stay on Facebook, so they want to show posts that are engaging on Facebook. Videos are going to be more engaging. So if you can make a decent video that makes somebody laugh or makes somebody cry or adds a lot of value to their life, and then the people who you put it out to, so it gets put out to more people and then they all share it, then it'll get shown more and more and more and more. It'll even show up multiple times on the same person's newsfeed. How do you do that? Actually have a clear call to action. Anytime you make a Facebook post native to the content, write something, have your video on there, your photo on there, and then ask them to do something. Almost every single time. It doesn't have to be something big. Like this post if you like cookies, and put cookies out there. I know that's a stupid example, but if you're a cookie company, that would make sense to do. Add value, say share this post to spread the yoga love. Prompt them to do these things, actually ask for it as well. If you get really good at making your videos, you'll also say it in the video. Make sure you share this, or comment down below, or something like that. Have a clear call to action. Final note on videos, Facebook makes it easy because it has an auto generator. Have the captions in. You'll notice that it auto plays, but the sound does not automatically come on. So if you have a good hook line at the start, and it shows up in words, people will often read. I know they don't like reading, but they'll read the first couple of lines right away and see if the video seems like it's something they want to take a look at. Then they'll click on it for the sound. Post localized content. So sharing and stuff from other pages is good, but you're building up their clout, not your clout. Now if they share it from your page, that builds up your clout. So it's not that you don't share things, it's just that you want to be producing content that's shareable, and the number one way for that to happen is usually to have local content. So have the content be about you and your area as well. It's not that you don't share other people's stuff, but if I'm going to share a picture or a video that Will made onto my Facebook page, I don't want to just share it. I would share it and then add my critique or add my point or add my why it's important or add something about making it about me and my studio and my business, and then share it. So the video, I'm going to recycle the content from you. It helps you out. People like it. They like my post. They end up liking it, commenting on what I've said, not on the video in general. Or they share it along as well. That's how sharing can be more useful. So mistakes are having a weak offer. Mistakes are only boosting posts. You put a post out there and you just boost. and we're not using any other of the marketing techniques of Facebook, sending traffic to the wrong place. So they shouldn't really have to search for anything. If you put an ad or if you put a post out and you're prompting people to go somewhere else, you want them to click and end up on your website, if you just send them to your website and they have to go search for whatever it was you told them that it was about, especially in an advertising sense, if you're like, we have a great intro offer, it's $39 for 1 month, click here, and it just drops them onto your homepage, the likelihood of you closing that deal is extremely low. You've got to send them directly to a page that's just about that intro offer that communicates the same message that you told them that you were sending them to. Let's check my notes here. Okay. Make them laugh, make them cry. Posts. Okay, this is where we gets hard, and again, this ties into our staff management. How do you make posts on Facebook? The magic ratio is 3 to 1. So jab, 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 right hook. So don't sell something more than 3 to 1 ratio. 3 posts of enhanced value to the students, saying, the schedule today is 9:30, 5:30, and 7:30. Come and take Josh's class. That's not enhancing value to them. That's information. So don't post that too often. Can you post that sometimes? Sure. If there's a schedule change, yes. But as a student, I actually don't care about that, especially if I can find you on your app and on your website and I know the schedule anyways. And you can have a link to the schedule on your Facebook homepage so I can end up there. So I don't need you to make that post every day. And also, how shareable is that? If you post on your page your schedule for today, how likely am I going to be like, this is awesome, share? Why would I do it? Like, not likely at all. Does it happen ever? Sure, but not really. So post something that adds value, that's around your product, that's around your yoga practice, it's around the benefits that people get. Use it as a platform to sell things, not sell the actual pass, but to sell your concept. And then maximum 3 times, then 1 time you can throw in there, hey, did you know we have an intro pass? Hey, did you know the auto pay is a great deal? Hey, we're having a sale on yoga mats. Or hey, did you know about this yoga mat that we sell? Then you can sell something in there as well. That's okay. But not that often. 3 to 1 maximum, I would say less is fine. How frequent do you post? Facebook, every day. Every day you should make a post on Facebook. So a lot of you guys out there, I know, because I've been to your Facebook page, you post, usually it's not consistent in any direction. There's like 4 posts in a week or in a month, and then there's like no posts for 2 weeks, and then there's a post, and then there's a share, and then, but there's big gaps in between. So you want consistently to be posting. Frequency, about once a day, is a good starting point. If you really can't do that, you're a small business and it's just not going to happen for you and it super stresses you out, fine, do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but it's got to be multiple times per week, every week, forever. Now, what's better, if you're good at this, post more than once a day on Facebook. Post 2 or 3 times a day on Facebook is okay, as long as the content is good. But you can post in the morning and have the post be good, and you can post in the evening and have the post be good, and they won't dilute each other. That's okay. So 2 times a day is a good target to go towards. When we talked about managing your staff and having a checklist, one of the daily checklist items, and this is how you get more posts out there and how you make the content better, was we got our front desk staff, because we had them, to make a Facebook post every night. That was on the checklist. It was a job that they had to do every day. And then we trained them on what a good post looks like. It must include a video, or it must include a photo. It must be written in this way. It can't be too long. And it better be interesting. It better be interesting, and it better be local. What was interesting, and for a lot of you studio owners who have been in the game for a while, you probably have staff members that are much better at social media than you. They grew up in the social media era. So they're actually going to be really helpful. They're a good resource for you. Use what you have in front of you. They understand the communication style on Facebook. So ask them to do it. What's a good post? Make something quick. Take a quick photo, boom, put it up there. Now, what this might mean though is you need to make the ability for them to have a photo to post. That's sometimes hard. So you either need to give somebody a login to your Facebook or share the administrative ability or make them someone you've shared Facebook with, or you have to have your studio cell phone and it's on there so that they can do that. Or you have to have a camera that can hook up to your computer really easily so that people can do that. Make it easy for them to do it. Do the back-end setup. This is another reason why having an iPad is actually a good idea. People sign in, you can sell your contracts on it, and if people need a device to then go click or make a quick video, you've got an iPad. So, makes it easy. I want to come back to Facebook ads in a second. Instagram, make it artsy, make it original content, post it at a relatively high frequency. You can have competitions with it as well. People, post yoga postures wherever it is. If you guys, I know a lot of you are into the Inferno Hot Pilates out there. If you look at Gabby's Instagram, for example, she has this ongoing plank challenge. Do a plank anywhere. So as she's traveling around the world, she and whoever she's with, they do planks on something, near something, over something, around something. If you guys in the Bikram yoga world know Changu, he has a page, it's called Humans of Bikram Yoga, and his thing is he does balancing stick on everything all over the place. There's a picture of him on the big bull on Wall Street doing balancing stick. Then he's hiking in a mountain, he's doing balancing stick. Then he's standing on a post, balancing over top of a river, doing balancing stick. That's his thing. Coincidentally, his balancing stick is now a very good posture. But there's a consistency there, but there's that post going on, and people kind of get attached to that as well. So yeah. Tag students and teachers. One of the things that's underestimated is leveraging who you have in your business already. So when we're talking about Instagram, you can tag people on Instagram. So if you have 10 teachers and they're all on Instagram, when you make a post at your studio, you want them to interact with it to get that interaction. So first off, tell them, if I post something on Instagram and you work for me, like that post. If it's really so bad that you don't want to like it, okay, but then come and tell me and let's improve. But how do you make that happen? Tag them in it. Tag those people in the post. And if you're taking a photo that has something to do with new students and you know a couple of the new students, tag them in the post. If you're doing something that has to do with, what regular students would be more interested in, tag some of those people in the post. That's okay. But get it connected to people because you're trying to create interaction. Start the interaction. Start the conversation. This is exactly the same as we said. If you as the teacher and the desk person are sitting at the desk and you're talking about something yoga and a student comes in and sits down, immediately include them in the conversation. Hey, we were just talking about why it's so important to blah, 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 blah. Or I find that for me, I don't like drinking a lot of water during class. Or I find for me that this electrolyte supplement really helps. Include them in the conversation. Social media is now the conversation. Where it used to be in person, it's now online. This is the positive theoretical debate for social media. You say, when I was a kid, I used to go out to my friend's house. We'd meet up with 5 other kids, we'd play basketball, and we would talk with each other. Now my son's sitting in the basement, and I don't see him talking with anyone. Actually, he's communicating with 35 people. It's just all on his phone or online now. So there's a larger network that they're reaching to. Now, good or bad, the psychology of that, anything else aside, that's just real, that's what's happening now. But start that conversation. Just posting something now is not starting the conversation. Posting something that's interesting and engaging and then tagging me in it so that I'm engaged and then I share it and then my friends see it and then your friends who are friends with my friends see it and it starts to go like this, that's engaging. That's how you start the conversation. So tagging people in it, Instagram is a good idea. Let's go to Google. Google's the other big one. You must have your Google Places page claimed and set up. If you don't know what that is, I can help you. Reach out and we'll walk through it again. There's lots of information online. We're not going to walk through it right now. But have your Google Places page set up. If you Google search hot yoga, Ormond Beach, the map comes up with the top Google rated studios. This studio shows up. #1, I think, or #2. shows up right there. That shows up usually above the actual organic search results. There might be ads in between, above or below as well. Above the fold, where people have to scroll down, is where you want to show up. So being number 1, yes, it's good. Being number 2 is okay if it's still above the fold. If the places page is what shows up first, and then you're number 3, you're below the fold and you're hard to find. If you're off the first page, you're essentially invisible to 90% of visitors. So you got to start doing something to get on the first page. You need to be paying for advertising then. Statistically, if someone sees a Google ad and you're in the places page and you show up in the organic search in the top 3, the likelihood of them clicking through to you goes up by, I don't know, 100%, a whole bunch. So just appearing there on the top, which is one of the reasons why a Google ad might be a good idea. If you're not showing up on the first page of Google, definitely a Google ad is a good idea for your local area. For most studios, you can probably do some things to get yourself on the first page relatively fast. Where this is different is if you're in a massive market with a lot of online traction. If you're in New York and you're a new studio, to show up on the first page, that starts to get more difficult. You got a lot of gray matter to sort through. So that might not be as easy, so ads would make a good idea. Google owns YouTube. So it's Google AdWords is how you advertise on YouTube. All I'll say about YouTube, it's the 2nd largest search engine on the planet. It is way dominant on the male side of things. So if you want to target boys, YouTube is where you go. Now we don't have internet cafes around here anymore, but I spent the last 7 months in Mexico and they still have internet cafes. You go into an internet cafe, there are only 2 pages that every single person, regardless of their age or gender, has up. Facebook and YouTube. Nothing else. Not even their email. So those are the 2 places you really want to make sure you're showing up, especially in that culture. Here as well though, guys go on YouTube. YouTube shows up in organic search really high. If there's a highly rated YouTube video, Google will show that video above the page that the video is even about. So having video up there is a good idea. The other thing is, even if you don't have a YouTube page that you have a bunch of video about, advertising on YouTube might be, in your market, might be one of the magic bullets. I'm not saying it's going to make you a ton of money, but if you need to get in front of people and you want to get men coming into your studio, you can geo-target in AdWords a specific area. So we could say this is the studio and we could drop a pin. I want to advertise to anyone within only a 5-mile radius or 10-mile radius of this pin, this spot, my address only. So only local. It's going to be dominantly men anyway, so I can target men. And then we make an ad that shows up on the front of the YouTube videos that they go on and watch. And we would target fitness, not yoga. Now, for those of you who have ever been on YouTube, what usually is the ad that you would see, an example of an ad you would see on YouTube? Where would the business exist? Where are they physically located, the business who would have an ad on YouTube that you've usually seen?
Where's the business?
Where are they physically located? You don't know?
No.
Right. Because they're a big business.
Right.
It's an ad for someone or something else somewhere else.
Wix web pages does a lot.
Man, Wix is just all over.
Anyone
YouTube.
that's on YouTube is like, you gotta watch at least that 5 or 8 second
right.
ad.
Right. So one thing to know about your ad, make it exciting but immediate as well.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, that's how long before they can click skip ad.
Right.
So make sure that it's in the first 2 seconds, do something that's going to get their attention.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, most of the ads we see right now, they're not a local ad. Here's what's interesting. If I'm correct in my understanding, I've made some phone calls, I've tried it out myself. If you geo-target very specifically to an area and you're a smaller area, that Wix ad or whatever is showing up based on your previous behavior for you personally, but it's also because nobody is claiming the local spot. If I'm a local business, if I'm right next door to you and I've targeted where you are, and whatever your search criteria is going into there, my ad might get priority over the Wix ad despite its budget being bigger, because I might be deemed as more relevant to you because I'm right beside you. My physical locale is closer. So at least a certain percentage of the time, even though you might not be able to outcompete price-wise with a company like Wix, my ad will still show up. This is a really important detail. When's the last time you saw a local ad for a local business with a real local person that you could go and shake the hand of on YouTube? Some people have never seen it in their local area. Be different early and often. Now imagine if your yoga studio and you, the face of the yoga studio, shows up on YouTube for someone who's searching something about yoga in your local area. Someone puts in how to do pigeon pose and your ad shows up. Someone puts in yoga for weight loss and your ad shows up. Someone puts in free yoga class and your ad shows up. Someone puts in get six-pack abs and your ad shows up. The cost per click on that right now is in like the 2 cents, 3 cents range often. Really low. Really, really low. So you don't need a big budget either. And it's a more captivative audience. So I'm just giving the example of like when we're starting to leverage these things, we've got to think, how do we actually use them? How they can really work. That one would really work. That, in my mind, is a smarter buy than trying to compete for the tag word yoga or hot yoga in a lot of markets in a Google advertisement. To have that little ad up on the top show up that says, try hot yoga. Probably the competition for that in your local area for most businesses is really heavy. So if you're already showing up high in the organic search, if you're already showing up in the Google Places page, if you have good reviews as well, so everything they see is positive, paying for that ad, don't worry about it. Save your money, put it somewhere else. Show up where the other people are not. This goes back to Facebook advertising. Right now, I still think I might be coming to an end soon, but there's no new ad platform that's going to take it over. And Facebook is so smart about reinventing how their ads work and how everything works. Right now, bang for your buck, Facebook ads have the highest level of, hear me clearly, potential. Will they make you the most money? It's really hard to track, but they have the highest level of potential for what you pay. What you can do with $500 in a month on Facebook is way, way more than what you can do for $500 ad buy in a magazine, in a newspaper, on your local radio station. No doubt. Those things are really expensive, and especially like print ad now, print ad is dead. As a yoga studio, don't even bother. Now, a specific magazine launching to an area around an event, like I know that We Are Yoga is at the Reggae Rise Up event, and then there was a magazine that went out associated with this event and got sent to the studios. Having an ad in there, that was a strategic ad for this one case. That might be different. But for this yoga studio to put an ad in the local newspaper, I don't know. How likely is that going to convert to something?
Not 3 auto pays a month.
Not 3 auto pays a month, and you're going to need at least 3 to cover the expense, so it's not worth it. Now, Facebook ad, on the other hand, yes. Here's one detail about this that's important to know with Facebook. The largest growth group in Facebook right now is 55 plus. It's older people. If I ask my little sister-in-law, who just turned 20, what she uses and how often she's on Facebook, she says, I go on Facebook maybe once a week. They don't even use Facebook. So the younger crowd, that's not even where they are anymore. We want to know where they are and get on that, but right now, in terms of advertising, that's not who your target market is. You're not going to make your money off 18-year-old kids unless you're on a university campus. As a yoga studio, you're going to make your money off 25 to 55-year-old people, usually more like 35 to 55. Not always, but usually.
Right.
So where are they? They are still on Facebook. So posting on Facebook, yes. Advertising on Facebook. But here's the thing. You boost a post on Facebook, and all it does is it makes sure that that post is seen more to the people who are already associated with your group or the people who are attached to them. That's okay. But you can make that happen anyways organically by making a better post and asking people to share it. And then if you make a post on your business page, then you go and like it and share it on your personal page and your wife's personal page and get all your teachers to do it, and you got 10 shares all of a sudden out of nothing, and then it goes out. That almost has the same value as the boost. The hack that Facebook knows is they keep prompting you to boost stuff. You click boosting the post, and they make a bunch of money from it. You don't necessarily see the return. But if you have a really high performing post and you boost it, that might be a good idea if you just boost it for a little bit just to get a little more traction out of there. Where the real smart money is in Facebook is in targeted advertising, because especially in the United States, in other countries it's different, you can whittle it down to a really hyper-specific person, which is a best practice for marketing. You can say women aged 30 to 35 who live in this area, who make this much money, and say that they have an interest in yoga. You can target that person and whittle it down to a very specific group. So then you know that the theoretical person that you're reaching behind those ad dollars is the right person, not just everybody. Where I think yoga studios, even that might not be the best plan for a yoga studio, because let me talk to you about what that looks like. You write the ad, it has good copy, it has a certain visual aspect, it has a good picture, it has a good video, it has a call to action, and it's selling something that's special. Then you target it appropriately and you send it to these people. They click on it. You've got to send them to not your web page or something, to a landing page that continues the conversation from the ad, has a really strong call to action, has a testimonial, and sells them something, and then they click on that to get rung through. And you need to collect information from them. You want to make sure you get the lead. That means you need at the very least, you've got to get their email address. So right now, if you're barely just managing your regular Facebook page, that seems like a lot of steps to have to deal with. So what I'm saying is, instead of that, where your dollars might be smarter spent would be on retargeting with Facebook. So you can look up on your Facebook help suite, or I can help you do it as well, and you get your Facebook tracking pixel and you put it on specific pages of your website or all of your website. And you can say, if somebody visits my new student page on my website, which is again why you need a new student page, so they landed on my website, they didn't bounce, and they looked at my new student page. They just told me I'm new. What do new students need to know? Target that person with an ad, so when they go on Facebook later, in case they didn't buy something and they forgot about you, have an ad that's targeting that person. That's the smart ad buy. That's the hack. That's what the bigger companies do and where they're winning, and why they're outcompeting other yoga. So in terms of ad dollars with Facebook, that system exists, and that's the one to leverage. Okay. Last thing in general I mentioned, get your staff to post for you, but you can't just say, hey guys, make a post for me. Train them on how to post on the platforms that you have. Make sure that they're doing it regularly, make sure it's of a certain quality, check in on their posts as well. And the last thing I would say is, because we have teachers, and teachers right now are self-promoting all the time, leverage that to your advantage. Help them self-promote, but make sure that it always links back to you. Make sure they're always tagging you in the post, they're always bringing your studio in on the post, that when you're pumping them up, they're backlinking it to you and they're sharing your stuff as well. Your teachers will have a larger reach locally than your business page will, most likely and probably in all cases. So if you can get them on their personal page to be posting about your page and the linking going through, that's going to get a lot more traction. So it's not just getting them to go on your business page and say, hey, Josh is teaching tonight. Get me on my personal page to be like, yo, I'm teaching this awesome yoga class tonight. Check out this video of me doing a cool yoga posture. And then you on your page share it as well, and make sure that they say, I'm teaching at this studio, and they link to your studio as well. That's really how you can leverage that to your advantage to, again, just get more reach, extend to more reach. Okay. Whew. That was long-winded. Online presence is like a huge subject. Like I said, we could talk about this for 3 days just on a couple of small things. So I hope that gave you some clarity on some things. If you need more help or you want a critique of your online presence, that is something that I can do with you as well. So reach out and we'll talk about what that looks like. Let's take a break, because next we're going to come back with something special, and that is an exit strategy for Yoga Studio.
Hi guys.
Hi, my baby lad.
Woo!
Who's sitting in a cage?
Hi.
Are you on break?
How are you?
Yeah, we're going to take a break.
Hi, Daddy.
This is still live, though.
They're so good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi to Daddy. That's me. Say hi to Dada.
You?
Say hi
Have
to
a
Daddy.
coffee.
Dad, what's he trying to say hi to you?
Go say hi to Daddy.
Hey, my mom has those same
Babies
pants.
to wear
My mom has those same yoga pants.
Aren't they so fun?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? I've never tried that.
They're just fun. Like they're like fun to look at. And
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun to look at, but they're probably too stretchy and skinny.
Skinny for you.
No, if you bend down, then it
They
will
do
hurt.
stretch a little bit. These are the like extra small. And I'm like, that is so tight.
Because I have a small.
I have a small, and then my small, actually, I think I should have gotten an extra
There's a
small.
lot of material.
Yeah.
So like my smalls are like my baggy pants I put them on when I'm,
Right.
you know. But these are the extras. It just depends what you're doing in them.
Yeah.
You know.
Because yeah, I have mine. Those ones that I have are small, and they fit except for around the waist. They like slouch a little.
Yeah.
So I think I would get an extra small.
Yeah.
Next time.
That's what I did. I got these.
I think they're wearing them inside out.
Do you think?
I don't think so.
See, look, the line.
It's supposed to be like big stitching.
Let's go.
We're
gonna go. So I'm gonna
No, I'm staying
Are
here
you-
for the break. I'm staying here
Well,
for
then
the
go to
break.
the back for the break. I was just gonna say I've got to come back like at 2 to take our junior to martial arts. So can we look at the schedule? Like, are you staying? How long are you staying until it's today?
I'm staying until I have to be at my studio for 5 to do that.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So I should be here by like 3:45.
Yeah, because Josh is I think down here at the has to go train all the stuff.
Right.
So when I come back, when this all wraps up, then we can talk about the schedule and that.
The live stream, the live stream is still on. So everything you do in that room is being recorded still. She can't be streaming is fine, and you can't be yelling at the media.
I'll be back for 2 o'clock, or 2:30, and then I think he's going to be done by 3:30. So because he has to be. Or, I mean, if you guys have a chance to mail me the down too, and we can just schedule it. Okay. Otherwise, I'll just have to. Okay, we are going up.
That's right, I felt like me too, but good schedule.
Arjuna?
I just feel like that schedule sounds like it works, I don't know how much, like that is the worst schedule that does not work at all.
Well, yeah, and I'm kind of like her. Like, yeah. And those couple days I
Yeah, there's coffee there. Two-minute warning. One more minute. Okay, you guys ready? Can I start, please? Okay. Exit strategy. That's the next concept that we're talking about here. Get a mic going. Green light. We're good. We'll check the camera in a second. Quit Excel. Okay. Can I start? Did I need to do anything with this camera?
I'll just get my coffee ready.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You did abuse my ears for over an hour off schedule, so just keep going. Alright, here we go. Hold on. You're on there, you're on there. I just got the coffee going. Oh wait, battery died? Oh yeah, you got dead battery here. 1 second.
Alright, sorry, one more minute. Battery change. Battery change.
Oh, we got people back too.
Yeah.
So welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Alright.
And
Check 1, 2. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So, welcome back. Let's talk about exit strategy. Probably, it's in the top 3 questions that I get when someone phones me and I schedule a free strategy session with them, which you have access to as well. Just reach out in any of my social media and just say, hey, I want to chat on the phone, strategize for my business. It's a free phone call to see if we should work together, and I'll give you some tips and tricks that I can see that will immediately be helpful to you based on your business. But when I'm on the phone with people, one of the top 3 things that comes up is how to sell your yoga studio. I have also been involved in the sale of now 6 different yoga studios and slightly involved in a couple of other ones. We personally, of course, built, managed, and then sold our yoga studio. Having an exit strategy is small business rule number 1, or so they say from back in the day. But here's where the problem lies. When you opened your yoga business, you probably thought, this is awesome and it affected me and I want to share it with other people, and your mind was not on the exit strategy at all. There is no exit strategy. Am I right?
right.
That's usually where we start, and I was the same thing too. So although it's one of the first things that we think about in terms of, or I should say, although it's one of the first things that people say you should have planned, most small business owners are opening up their small business, at least to some extent, based on their passion, not based on how they're going to get out. So they don't have any exit strategy. What we're seeing now is that if the yoga business that you've been in has been going for 10 years, or even less, and you're no longer as passionate about it, then you start thinking about getting out and how to sell the business potentially. So it's a big question that comes up. Discussing an exit strategy is intelligent and doesn't mean that you will attract something negative to your business. It is tricky to get out. The reason I'm bringing this up is that there are a lot of yoga studios. Remember I said there are more yoga studios in North America closing than there are brand new ones opening up right now. There are a lot of yoga studios and yoga studio owners out there who they want out. They want to sell their business, or they want to not be doing the business anymore, except they're between a rock and a hard place and they can't get out. They get stuck in the business. It does not feel very good to be in this position. So it's important to have an exit strategy so that you never feel like you're stuck. Now, we've all heard the horror stories out there, and I hope that you're not in this place at all. If you are, phone me immediately and we need to do a studio overhaul. But there are businesses where we're seeing the students show up one day and the doors are just locked and the owner just disappears. They literally just walk away from the business. There are others who they just close the doors, and they didn't just walk away from it and disappear, but they just close the doors. After a decade of operation, they barely get themselves out of debt, or sometimes they still have debt. This is the worst. They take the loss and just close the doors of the business. This stuff hurts my heart. But a huge component of this is not having planned the exit strategy in the first place. So I'm going to talk about how we actually make an exit strategy. Contemplating exit strategy, coming up with different routes for you to get out of your business is a good idea. It doesn't mean that you have to do them. What actually comes to fruition might not be the same as the plan, but if you have no plan, then it's completely impossible. Now, on the other hand, if you know that you're going to eventually want to get out of the business at some point within the next 5-10 years of time, could be a long time, how do you want to get out of the business? What is the actual goal? Do you want to just say like, okay, this has been fun, lock the doors, see you guys later, it's all good? Probably not. So a sale is usually what people look at in terms of what they want for exit strategy. But to sell a yoga business right now is actually really hard. So I'll give you a couple other options, but you want to be prepped ahead of time. If you're going to plan on selling your business, even if you want to sell your business right now today, I will tell you that the vast majority of yoga studios who want to sell their studio are a minimum of a year out of being prepared to sell their business. And I know that some of you might hate to hear that. Some people don't believe it as well. We'll come back to this concept. This is a pretty standard growth pattern for small business and for yoga studios. So you open up, and in your first year, 50 to 100% growth. That's usually the goal. Because you had 0, now you have a whole bunch. So of course, years 1 to 3, you see 25 to 50% of growth. Years 3 to 5, it slows down, but you can still be up in the 20s and 30s. And then from 5 years on, somewhere between no growth and 20%. A lot of yoga studios are really on the low end of this, but this also shows that 20% growth is realistic even 5 years and on. What the point is though, the first question about selling a yoga studio and exiting a yoga studio is to define how you want to exit. So let's all agree that selling the studio is probably the ideal situation. And 2, when do you exit? Sell high, buy low, sell high. We all know this term. Exit your studio, the years don't matter, when you're up here and you're still gaining 10s and 20%. If you've done this and now you're going down and you're negative month over the month, or you're at 0 gain and now you want to sell, why would someone buy from you? Because I also get hired by people to assess studios that they're looking to purchase. So depending on who's hired me, I will be fighting in their corner, so to speak. If I'm helping you sell your studio, I'm going to be fighting for all of the positive things and making your studio appear to be as awesome as possible so people want to buy it. If you're asking me to help you buy a studio, I'm going to find every single problem I can to help bring the value down so you get the best purchase price for that studio. That's just the way that it works. So for me, I like to look at both sides of things. If you're growing, but you're like, you know what? I feel like I'm coming towards the peak. Things are really good, but I'm not sure, I'm not 100% convinced I'm going to be doing 20 and 30% jumps from here on out. That's when it's a good time to be selling. Sell high, because you're going to maximize the value of the sale. Now there are other factors, but they're personal factors. How much debt load do you have on the studio? Do you really want to sell the studio or not? Would you rather stay in the business? Whatever else. So that's okay, but I'm saying when you sell the studio matters. Now, if you're in the condition where the studio is not doing as well as you want it to be, and you want to sell it, that's a little bit more what we'll talk about in terms of putting everything in order so you're prepared for a sale. First, let's define what are the different types of exit strategies that are there. Selling the studio is obvious. Closing the doors and walking away without telling anyone, less obvious, but happens. Just closing the doors, just warning everyone, letting passes run out, not selling new passes and saying, this studio's gonna close, here it is, and just letting someone take it on. That's another one. There are some other options that we're seeing become more common. One of them is a studio lease. So what this looks like is essentially you lease the business to somebody else. They come in and they run the business. You still technically own it. You still technically put the money into the build out. You still built up the mind-body account, all the students, everything else. But you eliminate the necessity for somebody else to have to come up with a bulk sum of money to give to you. So instead you say, look, you pay me $3 grand a month, and included in that, you have all access to everything in the business. You pay the teachers, you pay the heat, you pay the electricity, but I'll handle the lease and the water and the taxes and everything else, the standard stuff, and everything above and beyond that I get, it's my cut. And then you operate the business. I'm totally out, it's your business, and you hand it off. That exit strategy, I've seen it employed in a few cases successfully. It's hard. It seems like it's an easier one to sell because of the non-investment, and it's becoming more common, but it is hard to set up well. I'm just presenting it as a theoretical option. The problem with that is that you still are holding the liability. So it means that that person could operate it for 6 months and they could walk away and they don't have any skin in the game. If they're not making money, they're like, you know what, I'm out, and then you're still stuck with the business. So you have to be wary of that. When you're selling a business as the ideal situation, there's also the vendor take-back option. This is common in yoga studios. It's super risky. You agree that the business is worth $200,000. They can only come up with $100,000. So you say, sure, you give me the $100,000 and I'll finance you the other $100,000. And I'll do it in vendor take-back. So every month you pay me until the $100,000 is gone. That might close the sale. I'm bringing this up because it will be, if you're thinking about selling your studio, this option will be presented by someone at some point in time. You might think that it's a good idea. Just understand the real risk. In that situation, be prepared to lose all of that money. Be prepared that they will not pay you back any of the vendor take back. So, ideally it would work out that way, but I'll tell you right now, they pay you the 100 grand, you're supposed to be getting something back from them. Their cash flow doesn't support them paying you $1,000 a month, they're just going to stop paying. So then you either have to be willing to fight it legally, but if they can't pay for it, they can't pay for it, and you just end up with the studio again, so nothing good happens from it. Or you have to let go and hope that they pay you something in the future. So there's some risk involved in that. But again, this is another common option that we're starting to see. What these all highlight essentially is that the two ideal situations are that you have no debt, you maximize a whole bunch of cash flow, and then you hold on to that money so you've got a little nest egg for yourself, and you just close the doors and walk away from the studio happily. On the other hand, you sell the studio and should be for profit. How do you sell your yoga studio? Every single yoga studio that phones me and we talk to about selling their studio, they say, I have a turnkey business. It should be great for someone young and enthusiastic who understands marketing and social media to come in here and turn this business around and make it really successful, and they'll make a whole bunch of money. And it's turnkey. I built it out, it's got a heater, it's got a floor, I got students, I got Mind Body, we got a Facebook page, it's all set up. They just got to come in, open the door, and start operating. The truth is, they're only 50% of a turnkey business. Selling a turnkey business is the best way to sell a business, no doubt. Most yoga studios do not have a turnkey business. They're not operating a turnkey business themselves, so they can't sell it as that. A turnkey business means you literally give me the key and I unlock the door and I start making money. now. Immediate cash flow. That's a turnkey business. A turnkey business means I pay you, I get the key, I open the door, and if I had no idea what I was doing at all and I just sat there for the first week, still everything would happen on its own. That's a turnkey business. So if you're trying to sell your studio, it doesn't matter whether they continue with the programs that you put in place, but you want to set it up as an actual turnkey business. Set it up as something that's proven. Set it up with multiple ways to show a tremendous amount of value in the purchase. Everything matters. The example earlier, the Facebook page. If you have 10,000 people following you on your Facebook page in a town of only 100,000, a tenth of the entire populace is on Facebook with you. That's a massive marketing opportunity. That's something a turnkey business should have. Because you can say, regardless of what I'm doing, I did create enough traction on Facebook that the day one you come in, you want to market to people and get them in here, here's 10,000 captive audience. They've already expressed interest, they follow us on Facebook. Now, same exact studio, they've only got 300 people on Facebook, doesn't matter. It's not an asset. Is it a detriment? No, but here's the question a buyer's going to ask. And here's the exact question that I would always pose to someone who says, please assess this business that I'm thinking about buying. Is purchasing your business a better option financially for me than opening up across the street and shutting you down? If I think that there's growth in the market that your business represents, and I don't think that you're doing it all the way, and I'm excited and I want to take it on, what do you have that I'm buying that's going to make me more money than me just opening up and starting at zero with a clean slate? Brand new place, everything's clean, I do it my way, and I build it up from zero. I have none of the negative baggage that your business might have. In a lot of cases, that would be a better move. Even if it cost me $50,000, $100,000 more dollars to do this, it would be an easier road than to purchase your business and try to flip things around or to fix them or improve them. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Why do people buy new cars?
Does it add value?
Because a new car is new and has a warranty and there's no known problems right out of the gate with them. Even if you could buy the same car that's 3 years old, there's nothing apparently wrong with it, lots of people would opt for the new car. Not in every case, but that's kind of the comparison that we're making here. The new car, price-wise, is it worth 100% more than the 3-year-old car? Actually, probably not, but the perceived value is there. Selling your business works like this as well. So start setting your business up that you have so many assets that the perceived value is huge. Where you really know you're going to be able to sell your business at profit is that when somebody goes to look at your business to purchase it, when you presented it to them, because you're probably also going to know the person you're selling to in most cases. It's going to be a teacher, it's going to be a student, it's going to be a friend of a friend. When you go to sell the business, the result of them looking through the material that you give them is that you have absolutely got your fingers in and complete control over your niche market. And your business is operating in a way that for them to open up down the street and try to compete with you would be business suicide. They would not make it. They would have such an uphill fight. They're a lightweight boxer and you're a heavyweight. Even if they're a good boxer, they're still a lightweight. If I land one, you're done. It's over. That's the situation that you're trying to create. Not even because it will maximize the price you sell your studio at, but in these days, it means you'll be able to sell your studio. Because a studio that isn't operating well, I've seen studios get offered up for only $10,000. I've seen studios offered up where they say, look, you can have the studio for free, pay me $1,000 for a month for the next year, and then it's just yours, I don't care. Because that's the point that they're at. You know what happens? They close. Why would I pay you $10,000? If your business is really that low of value, I'm just going to wait for you to close the doors, and then I'm going to phone your landlord and assume the lease. That's a better business move for me. So it's not even that it's going to maximize the price, it's that it's going to create the situation where you have something to sell and someone does want to buy. That's the big thing we're trying to create. How do we do it? Okay. One of the first things we have to do is create a business review. So when you opened a business, you may or may not have done this, but you should have done a business plan. When you're selling your business, you need to have a how to sell your business plan. That's called your business review. Oh, I'll make it go big screen. This is the table of contents for the template that I've created that you can purchase that is how to sell your, or how to create your business review. As you can see, this is a 30+ page document that walks through all of the steps for how to actually buy and sell a business, a confidentiality agreement, a statement of intent. Statement of intent, this is where you may ask for a deposit. To go beyond this point, for you to get all of the information about my business, you have to be serious enough that you're going to put $1,000 down, and then I'll give you the information. If you don't buy it, you can have the $1,000 back, but I'm not screwing around here. I don't want any looky-loos. There's no tire kickers, so to speak. So just the statement of intent can be good. Educates on what are the steps, because these are the real steps for selling and buying. We've got to go through all these things. This is what you should expect. You're actually educating the buyer on what they're going to go through to buy your business from you. Now remember, we said in a sales process that the seller controls the structure and the buyer controls the content within the structure. Someone says they want to buy your yoga business. You're them. You're the seller. You're the salesperson. You need to control the structure. This still holds true even in this situation. By doing this and educating them, you're controlling the structure. We're going to buy the business. These are the steps that you're going to have to go through to buy it. Not because you're forcing it, because of the actual steps for a purchase. And then they fill in the content. They say, I want to know this, I want to know this, I want to know this, and you fill it in for them. But this is important because it keeps, again, the appearance of power equal or on your side as the seller, as the exit strategy. So, the simplest thing, like having in here, don't expect 100% bank financing. If you want to buy my business, and this is the price of my business, and you go to the bank, it's unlikely the bank's going to say, sure, here's all the money. That's just not usually the way that it works. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. It goes on and on. Business profile, summary, clients, all the resources, who the competition is, the facilities, the assets, balance sheets, pictures, everything else. All put into one document. This is what you would then give to somebody. This is what you would then give to somebody to, you prep this document and then you would give it to them if they're interested in actually purchasing your business. Yes, thank you. We can put that back up there. So, the other thing about creating a business review, just like making your business plan in the start, is that it highlights where you may be missing some things. It highlights where you need to improve things. The other place to look where you need to see where you might be able to improve things is in your KPI reporting. So if you're going to sell your yoga business and you don't have a KPI report, first off, one of the first questions if I'm looking to buy your business that I'm going to ask are the KPI metrics. How many students come in? How many of the students come back? How many buy your intro pass? How many end up buying something else? How many members do you have? What's your cash flow every month? What's your profit and loss at the end of the year? Most studio owners can't answer these. Or they can only answer a couple or a few of them. If you can answer all of them, it immediately enhances the perceived value of your business. So you can see where I'm going with this. This is a course that I'll build out for online as well, but I teach the studios one by one right now. But usually what ends up happening is if you want an exit strategy in your business, how do you do it? We do the whole foundation course. We go through the whole business again. We set it all up, we automate everything, we make it look good, we fix the numbers that are low, we get it all balanced out, we make sure that we've got some positive energy rolling and it's a sexy business. Then we offer it up for sale. Humans sense and smell ill will and fear better than any other animal. Our intuition is the strongest. We've already talked about that in our sales. So the same thing is true if you're trying to sell your business and exit because it's in trouble and you don't like it or you have no energy in it. It's unlikely someone will be that excited about buying it. If it's still exciting and on the upswing and you're still excited about it, but you're exiting because that's just the right choice for you right now, more likely someone will buy it. Most yoga studio sales that take place right now is not that the yoga studio owner puts it up for sale. Someone else sees that it's a good business and makes an offer. The buyer goes and gets it. And the studio owner was smart enough to say yes and sell it because they wanted to. So we're trying to create that situation. How do you do it? We've got to go through all the stuff we did. So optimizing your pricing, optimizing your schedule, getting more people in, getting better at marketing, putting these resources together, making sure everything's automated, having a trained staff, having a policy binder, having staff that can actually follow through in the policy binder, all of these things, having all of your marketing materials, your online presence amped up, it's all congruent, you've got something that's recognizable, you've created a brand in your town, that's sellable. Even which passes you have make a difference. One of the big things I explain to someone who says, I want to buy this business, is around the annual pass. They said, look, they have 25 annual members. I said, yeah, if you buy the business right now, you have to service those people for the next year and don't get any money from them. So either, or someone who has a 10 class pass, they have anyone who has 5 left, you've got to give them 5 classes, you don't get any money from it. That's not a benefit, that's a liability. Now take all those people and put them on an auto pay. From day 1, that person's on the auto pay, they're going to stay on it. Month 1, they pay you. That's an asset. So again, if you want to get really good at selling your yoga business, build up your auto pay. It ties into it too. Move your annual members onto your auto pay strategically at that moment. Because what we see is the reverse thing. People start putting on big sales. I know a business right now that's for sale, and I'm watching them online because they reached out for help and then didn't hire me, and they're making some big mistakes and they're going to get caught. Right now they're for sale and they have 3 or 4 people who are seriously interested, but during this process, because it takes way longer than you think, it takes 4 to 6 months for everything to go through and finances to come through and lawyers and whatever else to sell a business. During this process, they're constantly selling discounted 10 class, discounted annual pass. They're trying to bring all this money in. They're roping in as much money as they can. They're being greedy for themselves right now. What they don't see coming is that whoever says that they're going to buy it, if they have a lawyer that's worth his salt, they're going to say, I want money in the cash flow. Anyone you sold anything to in the last month, I want the money from. Or anyone who still has a remaining passes, I want a portion of that money. And their sale price is going to drop way down. They're going to have to pay it all back out. And in the meantime, they're completely eroding their brand. So if it doesn't work out, yeah, they created a bunch of money, they're going to see nothing from those people, and in 6 months from now, their business value is going to be really shitty. So this is why planning your exit strategy is a long game, and why you should plan it earlier on as opposed to later. With this being said, lots of people successfully sell their businesses, especially yoga studios. If you're going to sell your business, you get everything in order, you create your business review, and then you actively go and look for who could potentially buy it. You approach them. So one thing is you keep it a little bit secretive. Yes, there's online Facebook pages. Yes, there's online places for you to put, yoga studio for sale. In my experience, they don't usually help. They're just where other people who are selling go and look at what you're selling. So that's not usually the way it works out. Where you usually sell it is to a student or to an existing client or to an existing teacher or staff or someone who's connected to them. So start to look locally first and then branch out from there. And don't be scared. If you're selling your yoga studio and you do see online, someone's like, I'm thinking about buying a yoga studio, phone that person. I've got a yoga studio for sale. We live in this really awesome area. Here's all the great things about my business. You should come out here and check it out. So you have to be very active. It's a sale. You are a seller. You need to actively sell them your yoga studio. So this is all part of that. Last thing before we put this to rest, for exit strategy and for selling your yoga studios, how do you price your yoga studio? This question happens all the time. Number one, the value of your yoga studio is what someone will pay you for it. Period. That's actually the big thing to know. So it doesn't matter what your numbers say, it doesn't matter what you paid for your build out, it doesn't matter how much you think it's worth. It's only worth as much someone is willing to give you for it. And that is usually less than you might think. Now that being said, there are some metrics that you can use to figure out the value of your studio. Hang on, I gotta bring one back up. I wanna make sure I'm giving you the right information. Okay. There are 3 calculations that I would say are fair and easy to prove in terms of how much your yoga studio is worth. One is one times your annual gross earnings. So how much gross money did you make? That's just the value of your studio. Because in theory, if it was to continue, that's how much money would come in, and then it's up to the buyers to figure out how much margin they can create from that. The other way is 3 times your discretionary earnings. Now let's define discretionary earnings. This detail is important. Discretionary earnings are calculated by the net income plus expenses that you incurred from the business that could very easily be not an expense. For example, during the last year, you wanted to buy a new car, you didn't have the personal money, but the business did, so you took $5,000 out of it. That's not a normal business expense, so you can put that back in as the owners would have been able to make that money. So the net was $50,000, plus I took 5 out. That's easy to prove that it should have stayed in there. So the value is of the discretionary earnings in this case would be $55,000. 3 times discretionary earnings tends to be a fair ratio to start. So the business is valued at $165,000. These are just to get to the starting point. It's all going to be a negotiation. And the final way that seems fair and is easy to prove, 2 times discretionary earnings plus the assets of the business. So, for example, it's possible in some businesses that you would have tens of thousands of dollars worth of retail in the business that the person is purchasing as well. Or that you have a unique build-out that is in good repair, relatively new, or that you've just reinvested in, like you just put a new heating system in, or you just put a brand new floor in, or you just put new mirrors all on the wall. Those expenses can be added in there. So 2 times the discretionary earnings plus the assets. One of the things that you can do, some banks, I don't know how it works in the United States, some banks, if they're going to fund someone to buy a business, they will send their assessor to the business to put a value on the physical properties of the business, the assets. Because they're not interested in what the business makes, that's secondary. What they're interested in is if the loan is defaulted, what could they sell everything for and get back? How much money would that be worth? It's possible that you can convince your bank or pay for that assessor. You find out who they are in your town, because they work for the bank, but they're a subcontractor. Find them, convince them that you'll give them some yoga and a coffee and $50 or whatever. Get them to come in and to evaluate your business. Assess the assets of my business and give me an official document that says that. Not only is that good for the bank, but also then you can give that to a potential buyer. 2 times discretionary earnings plus the assets, and the assets aren't just my opinion. An actual bank certified assessment went through, and this is what they said the assets are. So that's a smart move as well. Again, how do you leverage the situation so that you're in the position of power so that when they come back to negotiate, they're negotiating at the level you want to negotiate at? Those are the 3 ways I would say. But don't forget, your business is worth what someone will pay you for the business. We were managing one studio, owned another studio, and I flew to another province because their studio was in this one town that we really wanted to live in, and it came up for sale. Their original asking price was $100,000. By the time I got off the plane, they had dropped it to $80,000. I could prove that it was only worth $50,000, which she agreed to, but then we walked away from it because it was too far of a stretch to try to manage it with our other things that were going on. Finally, she tried to sell it to someone for $10,000, but the person couldn't come up with the money, and the studio closed. The studio now exists. Someone else just came in and assumed the lease. Why did that happen? What's the lesson? The lesson is, even though it was in a good town, even though the build-out was really good, the business practices were poor, so it wasn't attractive, and even though it would be very easy to prove that the assets of the business were worth $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, no one was willing to pay that. So the actual value of that business was down in that $10,000 to $50,000 range. That was the truth of the situation. And in the end, it fell through. It didn't even sell at all. That was too bad. That was just bad circumstance. She ended up walking away because she wanted to walk away before she could have waited for the sale to take place. So whatever someone's willing to pay you, that's actually what it is. What this means is, despite everything that you come up with and whatever your asking price is, if someone says, I'll buy your business for X number of dollars and you're a yoga studio owner, unless you have another offer right now that's better, probably say yes. Or come back to them with some, if it's a bit low, come back a little bit higher, but don't screw around on the price. If you have a business and that money that they are willing to give you is on the table, take the money and get out if that's what you're trying to do. The reason I say this is that as a business owner, we dilute the value of our business based on our personal opinion. I think it's worth more. Or this is the worst. I owe $100,000 in debt, so I need the business to pay off that debt. If I'm the buyer, it's not my job to buy out your debt. It's my job to buy an asset. So I'm giving the full perspective of what it is we're talking about. Okay, I digress. Exit strategy. It's not easy, but yes, you should plan for it. Now, remember what I said in the beginning though? Start planning on what an exit strategy looks like for you. Maybe your exit strategy is you hope to one day find someone who will come in and be the manager for you, and you give them the bulk of the money that you earn, and you're in the background, but you keep owning the business. That's a fine situation too. But whatever it is that you're going to do, whether it's that manager situation, leasing the business, selling the business, or walking away from the business, that is going to be a process that takes some time to establish. So it makes sense that right now, even if you think I'm not going to exit this business for the next decade, start putting things in place so that when you get there, you can, and it's easy. That's another massive reason why you've got to take responsibility for your business and do the best practices, so that you're not caught wanting to get out and then it's difficult for you to do so. Even if when you get to that point, you're like, this is when I said I was going to sell the business, you realize, I don't want to sell the business anymore, I'm just going to keep operating. Great, keep going. Didn't cost you anything to do that, it only benefited you. But sometimes, from a business perspective, the way that we operate our business has to come from the reverse angle. If someone was going to buy this business, what would they want? Let's start operating that way. That might be different than how we want to operate our business, or how we feel we should be operating our business. So it's a good way to look at it as well. That's it for exit strategy for the moment. Give me just a moment here. I'm going to bring up a new document. Okay. We're so good?
Yeah.
I'm so green. Grab a sip.
That's too much in the picture.
So with all this said, we've talked about starting your business. You have your business plan. You create your vision. You get your spark. You do your reporting. You optimize your pricing and your schedule. You get good at your sales. You realize that everything is marketing. You tie your online presence into it. You start planning your exit strategy for the future. You put everything in place for success. You do the back end of things. This is working on your business. Most people, we spend all of our time working in our business. We're just there, signing people in, teaching yoga classes, trying to sell some stuff. When you do all of this stuff, you've done the most of the large portion of working on your business and setting it up so that now you can go work in your business. What is the next step once you've gone through all of these things? And this stuff will all take you some time to do. The next step is, great, now let's do it. It's all actually happening. We've set it up. It's ready to go. But remember, era of marketing, product is secondary to the launch. How you proliferate your message is more important than ever. The fact that you go and do it and make it happen in real time is more important than whatever the plan is. So even all this stuff that we've talked about, it's proven, it's best practices. I've seen it firsthand. The stats back it up. Mindbody University teaches similar things for their groups as well. Other business coaches who are smart, I think, try to come up with similar protocols and processes. This stuff works, but it only works as good as you actually use it now and go and do it. So what do you do next? Get this shit ready to go and then do it. Go. Now is when you're ready to work in your business. Now's the fun part. The last step is we can make a business plan for your business based on all of this other stuff. Not a business plan that you take a bank to get a loan. A business plan that's actually practical, that actually works, that's actually usable in real time. That's why I call it the no BS business plan. This is a business plan for a business owner. You have a copy of this that you can download and go through. So we're verbally going to go through it. It's very simple stuff. Number one, business location. Where is your business located?
Ormond Beach.
Ormond Beach. But we put the actual address down. There it is.
138.
What is the unique value or benefit? In other words, what do you offer clients that really matters and is different from the other people in your local field?
Teachers and staff.
Teachers and staff?
No, staff and community.
Staff and community, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Awesome clothes.
Right.
What'd you say? What was the question?
What is your unique value? We did the value proposition yesterday.
Oh.
I offer incredibly therapeutic, traditional therapeutic yoga practice that changes people's lives, that transforms people's lives through blah, 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 blah. All the stuff we worked on. It's for people who are primarily, here's the criteria. The value is the what's in it for me answer that we've come up with, we've been working on for the whole week. So this is just a reminder, we put it down here. Who is going to purchase your products or services? Remember we did our 5 avatars. That's where they go. Who? Anybody, I'll take anyone's money, but really who is it? It's a male aged 28 who used to play football and has a sore knee. It's a female who's 35, single mother of 2, who's going to drop them off at school and wants to lose weight or wants to do something personally for herself and be part of a community when they're at school for a couple of hours because she gets a chance to. It's a 62-year-old man who can't do high-impact training anymore and has no flexibility. Someone told him this is good. He tried it once, and he's had a better night's sleep. That's who is going to buy your product.
54-year-old lawyer looking to relax, be a little stress-free. 62-year-old ex-aerobic instructor. Just go through everybody.
What is your core product? I'll point up here. What is your core product is the next question. Now, just be careful. You can't say yoga. And you can't say hot yoga if you're a hot yoga studio. You can't even say Bikram yoga if you're a Bikram yoga studio. Why? Because if you say yoga, and I go to the other yoga studio and I say, what's your core product? They also say yoga. So first rule of marketing, different early and often. It has to be something that's differentiatable. Also, it has to be what someone actually gives a shit about. This is the no BS business plan. No bullshit. So, transformation. My core product is transformation. I just had an urge right there to be like, it's mother effing transformation. Like, you know, you get pumped up.
Go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
We'll get it on tape. I can make it one cut. I can bleep it.
Do a one bleep cut? It's motherfucking transformation. What will you charge? We already went through pricing. I'm going to sell a drop-in, an intro class, a 10-class card, annual, and an auto pay. This is going to be their prices. That's what I charge. There it is. Simple. Oh. What is your average income per student? So,
$10.50.
the average per class that I currently have, we did the revenue analysis when we're doing the schedule, so we know what that is. Right now it's 10. My plan, as I'm going to make it higher, it's going to be $11. The value of a student calculation, which we showed you, what's the value of someone in the class? For every person, average number in my class, right now they're worth $10,000 to me. But I'm going to make them worth $11,000. Value of a student, $11,000. Minimum amounts I'm going to sell to any one individual person. 3 months of my auto pay, plus my intro, plus a workshop, plus a mat, a towel, and a water bottle. That's my ideal sale, and I feel like it's very realistic. That means I'm going to make $600, you add it all up, per unique individual who comes into my studio. That's going to be my average income per student. That's the plan. It's not a hope, it's not a wish, it's not a goal. It is not a goal. A goal is something you strive towards, but there's no definition of whether you'll make it or not. If it's a plan, you're planning on it. It's going to happen. So you keep working towards it till you get there.
Sure you want the water bottle? No, but you sure.
What are your gross sales going to be year 1, year 2, year 3? So this year, next year, and the next. We talked about minimum 5% increase. That's the bottom line. We also looked at the graph about how businesses go. So depending on where you are on that graph, there's a theoretical percentage of growth. So this year, I can look last year, if I made $100,000, I'm going to make 10% more, I'm going to make $110,000. The year after that, I'm going to make $150,000. The year after that, I'm going to make $180,000. Don't be scared to make these bigger though too. You're like, you know what, I just did all this work, I'm amped up, I rebranded, I've got this happening, I fired this person who was holding me back, I'm fired up, ready to go. It was 100 last year, we're going to do 150 this year, 200 the next, and 300 the year after that. This is a plan, so when you put it out there concretely, you work towards it, you make it happen. How many students do I need per class? That's the value of the student calculation. If one student in a class is theoretically worth $10,000 over the course of a year, and I want to make $100,000 this year, then my average number of students per class is 10. I must average 10 people per class in this year to make that goal based on that calculation. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
You remember the ones I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Year 2, how many? Year 3, how many? This then highlights from the previous page, this is where I am, this is my core product, and this is what I charge. What do I focus on? Getting more money? No. Averaging more people in my room. Simple. Keep it simple. How will you generate sales? This is where you put in your big value proposition and you talk about good pricing, incredible transformation, incredibly well-trained sales staff, highest level of customer service ever, by build out of pipelines and adding huge value to people's lives, whatever it is. That's how I'm going to generate sales. Even if you have to put in there, I'm never going to stop selling. Selling is never over until you get hard no. What are your fixed expenses? So this is the real part. Your lease, your heating, a loan payment, and the fixed salaries of the business, such as yours as the owner. This is the hard costs that are going to come out every single month for sure, there's no doubt. What are your variable expenses? contractors, electricity. I've got in here snow removal. That's probably not as relevant for you guys. Maintenance of the studio. So things that are going to fluctuate, but based on our last year's balance sheet, what are they probably going to be in the realm of reality of? In which case, add them up. What's the total yearly expenses? This is how much it costs me to run my studio. That's how much I'm planning on making. What's your net profit? That's how much money I'm going to make this year. If this is more than that, you got to redo this. You have to make money. So the best guess for these would be a growth based on the previous years. But if you start to see your expenses are over this, that's not a safe business. You can't be in it. So these either need to come down, which is more difficult to do, but you can, or this has to go up. Make sure you're netting positive, of course. How will my prospects learn? How will your prospects learn about you? Where are people going to find me? I'm going to be on social media. I'm going to be on Facebook. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this advertisement out. I'm going to do Facebook ads. My students are going to tell other students I have a Buddy Pass program. I have a referral program. I'm going to get reviews going. I'm going to get referrals coming from my current clients, whatever it is. Put the stuff in there. You might need more space in this, of course. But put it down there. What are the primary ways? Not the little tiny things. I'm going to walk on the street and handshake everyone. What are the primary ways that you're really going to make people hear about you? How will you encourage referrals? Have a system in place. We haven't totally talked about this, so let's bring it up right now. How do you encourage referrals? Ask for them. Straight up ask. If I know that you're happy about my business right now because you just bought a mat towel and water bottle and an annual pass and you've been coming every day the last month because you're on a challenge, right then, hey, here's a free week to give to someone else or if friends or family. Ask for the referral. Ask for reviews, same thing. Ask for a review right at that moment. So time it. Straight up ask for it. Have it go out in your pipelines, build it into your pipelines. Anyone who happens to stay on your auto pay for longer than 4 months, they must be pretty happy. Ask them to refer somebody. Special offer, send this to a friend or family member, they get a discount on the intro. Have an event once a year. It's referral month. For everyone you refer, you get 10 bucks on your account, they get 10 bucks off of the intro month. Come up with something. So you got to ask for them, find creative ways to do it. But how are you going to do it? What obstacles or challenges will you face? What's the standard obstacle or challenge that you experience in your business?
Money.
Cash flow? Okay, cash flow.
Probably not a good one as well.
Not having enough staff would be one that people have. Not enough teachers. A challenge might be, I might burn out. I'm a single person business owner and I also manage my kids and I also do my home stuff and I'm there all the time. I might burn out. My health. That could be a challenge that I face. What are your biggest resources? This is how you use, what are the to mitigate these challenges. My biggest resources are my current auto pay members and building them up, my current clients. The actual staff that I have that are well trained, that do care, that do back me up. My friends and my family that are locally around. My intelligence, my continuing education, this course that I just did, the fact that I have a mind-body system that I now understand better. Put these resources in there, highlight it for yourself. Yes, these are the obstacles and challenges that I will face as a business. One of them is competition. But I have the resource of being better than them at marketing. I have the resource of understanding now how to use my Facebook page properly. I have the resource of, that's going to solve that. I have the resource of better trained teachers, more classes, more space, whatever it is. And then the final thing, this is so important, and let me give you a hint. In your biggest resources, you must put in there, myself, me. Put your name down. What's your biggest resource? You are your biggest resource. You are your biggest resource. I am my biggest resource. Period. In fact, you could only put that down and it would actually solve everything. Now, put down other things as well, so you've thought about it. But you have to put yourself down. Who can help you the most? Again, put yourself down. I can help me the most, more than anybody else. But who else? My teachers can help me, yes. Some of my clients can help me, yes. Do I have family around that can help me? Do I have a good friend in town that can help me? I had in here my father-in-law. He never did anything with the yoga business, but the one time that something broke and it was beyond my skill set to fix, and it was a Sunday and I needed to call somebody to come help me, and my regular heater guy wasn't around, I phoned him. And you know what he did? He came down and we fixed it. That's a major resource for me. When I needed a lawyer, my brother-in-law was a lawyer. He wasn't even the type of law that I needed, but he was a resource. He gave me sound advice. We ended up in the right place to get it fixed, to handle what we need to have handled. So record these people that exist for you. You don't have to have a ton of them, but know that they're there. You might never, ever call on them. But the fact that you remind yourself that they've got your back, because why do we do this? Remember we talked about how important it is in managing your staff for your staff to know that you've got their back. Who has your back? It feels like nobody does often, am I right? That's the scary part of being a small business owner. So we have to contemplate, wait a minute, no, there are people that have my back. And if you're having trouble with this, and even if you're not, everybody write down in here, Josh Bureau.
I was gonna kiss up and say that.
I've got your back. Am I gonna fly across the country and do everything for you? No. But if you need to get on the phone with someone who's gonna tell you the truth about your situation, not sugarcoat any shit to you, I'll do that, no doubt. If you're gonna say I have this problem and I don't understand how to solve it in business, I will help you. So I can be a resource for you. You need to know something about how to clean your weigh mats? You phone Will. You need help figuring out how to make sure that product is actually set up properly in your studio? You phone Will. So you have resources available to you. You're never alone. Someone has your back. Think about it, write them in here, make sure you know them. Like I said, you might never ever, but know that I'm here and you could call on me. Man, if I really needed help, I really needed an opinion, I really needed to reach out, I really needed to just have a sounding board with someone who's not emotionally attached to my business to discuss this specific business point from someone who really gets it, I could phone Josh. Will I ever? I don't know, maybe not. Maybe you don't need to, but I could. So, make sure you've gone through this whole process. That's it, that's the whole business plan, 3 pages. Not even 3 pages, I mean, it's lots of dead space. Once you've done this plan, you can only do it because we've done these other things. Now you have a real plan to move forward, and you've got to take the first step and start moving forward from this point. Come back to this. Have this available to you to look at frequently. This is what I'm trying to create. Is this happening? Yes or no? If it's not, what do I need to do? Now you have the resources for it. Start implementing them one at a time. So the question is, what do you do next? Pick one thing and do it. That's it. As a yoga business owner, you are uniquely poised, you are uniquely in a position, you have a unique industry that you operate in to actually lead humanity forward in a positive way and to fundamentally affect people's lives on such a deep core level that it could actually save them. And in doing so, you may actually save your own life by enhancing it, by adding more quality to it, by understanding even more about yourself. This is your yoga practice. That's why you're a yoga studio owner. That's why you're a yoga studio owner. It's your yoga practice. We are so lucky to be part of that. Because we're not selling bullshit. We're not doing a job that we just hate and is not positively affecting the world. And for the first time ever, we have the largest audience ever interested in what we do. And we have the most resources available to make it work the best ever in what we do. We have the most science, North American real science behind what we do. There's no reason that you cannot have tremendous, enormous, continuous success. There's no reason you shouldn't be so excited to go into work every single day. We said hard work is a privilege. Even more than that, hard work is a privilege, but hard work is fun. Doing hard work and working hard is something that you will enjoy because of this unique position that we're in. So, what do you do next? Finish this stuff up, pick one, start doing it. You get stuck, you call me. You need help, reach out. Take one step. When it's done, get good at it, good, check, move on to the next thing. How do you know which thing to do? We've already discussed it. Go back to your reporting. You don't know how to do the reporting? Reach out, we'll look at it. Even if you don't prioritize in the optimal way, doesn't matter. Just pick something and do it, but do the one thing. And don't procrastinate. Like today, right now, as soon as this is over and you're done watching, build this out. This will highlight where you haven't yet finished some of the previous work we've talked about. Fine, go back and do that. Once that's done, then finish this. Then, what's the first thing we need to do? My staff needs to get better at selling. Fine, do that. I need to fix my pricing structure. Fine, do that. Whatever it is, just pick one. Don't panic. Start doing it. For some of you, it will take 1 hour. Some of you, it will take 1 week. Some of you, it will take 1 month just to do one of these things. Doesn't matter. The time is relative to the necessity for you to accomplish it. Do it right, but start doing it. Yeah?
Yep.
Cool. I'm excited. I am all chips in. I'm totally invested in the success of this business. I really think that it's important. I really think that we're all doing something good. And I really want to see people succeed. Just like you own the business to make money, you teach yoga because you enjoy it and you want your students to come in and you want them to pay you. Yes, that's all true, but what's the real payout? The payout is that one student who told you, and this happened to me, the day before I came to your yoga studio, I was diagnosed with cancer. Since starting practicing here 3 years ago, I've been to chemotherapy and radiation. That's why I come and go sometimes. I'm so weak feeling at times, I can only ever do one yoga class every 2 or 3 days because I have to recover afterwards. But when I was diagnosed, the doctor straight up told me there was only an 80% chance of my survival. I have no family supporting me. I have no one else around because they've died of cancer as well. He said, I don't think you're going to live past 6 months. That was 3.5 years ago. The only thing that has changed in my life is I started doing this yoga practice. That's the payout. For me, the payout is that your business is sound so that you can access those people that really need it.
Amen.
Woo! Good work, you guys. All right, stay tuned. You live streamers, we're gonna post, we'll send you an email with all the links and what's gonna happen next, how you get access to these videos, to make sure the resources are there for you. If you have questions, comments, concerns, need help, whatever else, again, reach out. But thank you so much for tuning in and share your experience with your friends. If you love this, please go on Will's website, We Are Yoga, go onto my website, or yes, go onto my Google page, Nomad Business Coaching, or go to the Nomad Business Coaching Facebook page, same with We Are Yoga. Make sure you're giving the review there. It really matters. It really lets people know that we're legit. If you believe in us, we'd love for you to share that, tell people about it. And heads up, we have the resources right now. We will be doing an intensive retreat of some sort again in the future. It's not going to be for another 6 or 8 months from now, but we're already in the works getting it up and going, and it's going to be even bigger and better than this one. So be ready for that, and thank you so much for hanging out. Peace.